Chapter 261. This thing exuded a soft milky white luster, with a strong spiritual chi escaping from it. Even if one's spiritual consciousness swept over it, it would give one a comfortable feeling. Ning Cheng was too familiar with this thing. He had once obtained 7 of them, but he had already used them up. This was a best quality spirit stone. In general, in a spirit stone mine, the number of best quality spirit stones was limited. No one would use a theoretical comparison to exchange a best quality spirit stone for a high-grade spirit stone. This kind of thing simply could not be treated as a spirit stone. Everyone has seen this kind of thing a lot. Yes, this is a best quality spirit stone. I have a total of 5 best quality spirit stones here. The base price is 100,000 high-grade spirit stones, and each increment must not be less than 5,000 spirit stones. The pretty female cultivator presiding over the auction was still talking, but Ning Cheng had already decided to buy these 5 best quality spirit stones. Best quality spirit stones were very important to him, and he also wanted to go to the bottom of the Blood River in the future. Ning Cheng had already decided, in any case, before he obtained the best quality spirit stones, he would never go to the bottom of the Blood River. With the best quality spirit stones, even if that skeleton could not fulfill its promise, he could still walk away. 110,000, 120,000. Ning Cheng just thought about it, and the price of the best quality spirit stone immediately rose to 230,000. Moreover, the price was still rising, and the price soon reached 500,000. At this time, Ning Cheng realized that the base price of 100,000 and the price of the best quality spirit stones were worlds apart. The price soon approached 1 million, and when the price reached 1 million, the number of people bidding decreased. After all, no one was willing to use best quality spirit stones for cultivation, and the cultivators who bought best quality spirit stones were also just in case. But to spend a lot of high-grade spirit stones to purchase this kind of thing just in case, it was not worthwhile. 1 million. Ning Cheng directly added 100,000 on the base price of 1 million. After the price of the best quality spirit stones reached 1 million, there were not many people who directly added 100,000. Although best quality spirit stones were precious, but they could often be seen in major auctions, and could not be regarded as rare. Even if they could not buy it this time, they could always buy it next time. After Ning Cheng added 100,000, his heart was completely exposed. No one was willing to compete with a cultivator in terms of spirit stones, unless they had more spirit stones than they could spend. Sure enough, after Ning Cheng added 100,000, no one continued to increase the price, and Ning Cheng bought the 5 best quality spirit stones. Our second auction item is an artifact crafting material, Cosmic True Devil Metal. Many people knew the value of the true Cosmic Devil Metal. It was a supreme treasure for crafting artifacts. It could be used to refine Cosmic True Gold or Extreme Devil True Gold. Even if it was not refined, it could still be used as a top-grade material for refining. This true Cosmic Devil Metal's base price is 500,000 high-grade spirit stones, and each bid increment must not be lower than 10,000. As the pretty-looking female cultivator finished speaking, she picked up a fist-sized piece of artifact crafting material. The material exuded a faint demonic chi, which everyone could feel. Ning Cheng was secretly startled in his heart. This little bit of true Cosmic Devil Metal could be quoted at 500,000 spirit stones, then the price it could sell for would definitely be much higher than that. Lan Shu had given him a piece of true devil metal that could be used to refine the Cosmic True Devil Axe. Just how much was it worth? Wouldn't that be hundreds of millions of spirit stones? The true Cosmic Devil Metal was obviously much more popular than the best grade spirit stones. In just a few breaths of time, the price had soared to 3 million high-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng sucked in a mouthful of cold air. He knew that he owed Lan Shu a huge favor. It seems that he would not be able to casually take out the Cosmic True Devil Axe in the future. In case someone realized that this was the true Cosmic Devil Metal, then it would be equivalent to using a golden knife to fight with people. Finally, this piece of true Cosmic Devil Metal was bought for 4 2 million high-grade spirit stones, causing Ning Cheng to feel that the value of the true cosmic devil axe was even higher. Subsequently, the soul-chasing illusion loop, scarlet heaven-flying scorpion pagoda, heaven wave needle and other magical weapons appeared. Each of them had a price of more than 500,000 high-grade spirit stones. The most expensive heaven wave needle was even sold for a price of 1.3 million spirit stones. On the contrary, materials and spiritual grasses did not appear much. It could be estimated that the auction house knew that it was not cost-effective to auction spiritual grasses and materials separately. Only by refining these spiritual grasses and materials into pills and magical weapons, would they be able to sell for a high price. After Ning Cheng bought 5 best-grade spirit stones, he did not make another move. Now we are going to auction what I mentioned before. It is something that has rarely appeared before. The pretty-looking female cultivator spoke while holding up a jade bottle. I heard that this kind of thing only appears in the Lu Continent's Law's Way, which is also known as the Pseudo-Heaven's Way. It is a good thing for people to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth, as well as to comprehend the Tao charm. For the cultivator friends who have been stuck in a certain realm for many years, after obtaining this kind of thing, they might be able to break through in an instant. The pretty-looking female cultivator's words had not yet finished, when the auction hall immediately turned noisy. Anything that could allow one to break through in their cultivation was definitely a top-quality thing, and was definitely a treasure without a doubt. Everyone please calm down. Many of you have already guessed what I am talking about. That's right, it is indeed the spiritual enhancement true nectar. Of course, the spiritual enhancement true nectar cannot guarantee that you will have a 100% chance of breaking through, because this is not a spirit pill, but rather a kind of spiritual liquid. If you think that your ability to comprehend is good, then you can make your move. Of course, if you think that your ability to comprehend is just average, then buying it would be tantamount to a waste. Then you can just wait for us to bring out the next good thing. This female cultivator presiding over the auction was very good at speaking. With just a few words, she was able to stir up the emotions of everyone. Except for a few people, no one felt that their ability to comprehend was worse than others. The people who came here to participate in the auction were all people with a certain level of cultivation. Without a certain level of perception, how could they cultivate to a certain degree? The starting price of this bottle of spiritual enhancement true nectar is 1 million spirit stones. The minimum bid increment must not be less than 50,000. Hearing the price quoted by the female cultivator, Ning Cheng was truly a bit surprised. He had asked the soul essence deacon at the reception, but he was told that the value of this bottle was only a few million spirit stones. But now that the starting price was already 1 million, the final price would definitely not be low. 1 million. 2 million. 9 million. Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised that the price of this bottle of spiritual enhancement true nectar quickly climbed to 9 million, moreover the price was still rising. He had such a large pool of spiritual enhancement true nectar in his ring. Just how much wealth was this? However, Ning Cheng quickly put aside this idea. The rarer something was, the more precious it was, if he took out a large pool of it. Regardless of whether it was realistic or not, maybe the final price of this bottle of spiritual enhancement true nectar would only be 100,000 spirit stones. Finally, this bottle of spiritual enhancement true nectar was bought for a price of 5.2 million, causing Ning Cheng to be overjoyed. It indicated that he had earned more than 4 million spirit stones. If he added the other bottle, then his income would reach more than 8 million spirit stones. Sure enough, the second bottle of spiritual enhancement true nectar was once again sold for 5 million spirit stones, which made Ning Cheng feel much more assured in his heart. He now had a base of 20 million spirit stones. As such, buying a place where the geocentric 9 essence would appear, it should not be a problem, right? Ning Cheng had already decided to buy this thing and immediately leave. If not for the geocentric 9 essence, he simply did not want to participate in this kind of auction that he was not qualified to participate in. The next item is an artifact crafting material. Moreover, it is a top-grade material for crafting flight-type magical weapons. Everyone, please take a look at these 2 feathers. The pretty-looking female cultivator spoke as she held up 2 silver feathers that were 3 feet long and half a foot wide. The two feathers in her hands exuded a faint luster, it was as if they were an incomparably light world, as they fluttered in her hands. A burst of exclamations spread out, it was obvious that many people knew what these feathers were. Ning Cheng was also amazed, and even felt a little excited in his heart. Although he did not know how to craft artifacts, it did not mean that he did not know what it was. Over the years, he had seen a lot of jade strips that introduced all kinds of materials, moreover he himself was also a talisman grand master. These silver feathers could be used to craft talismans, and were also a first-class material. Ning Cheng was excited, it was absolutely not because this thing could be used to craft talismans, but because he knew that this feather belonged to a kind of flying phoenix. This kind of flying phoenix was called the taintless flying phoenix. The top-grade taintless flying phoenix had two main feathers on its body, these two main feathers were silvery white in color, and were called the taintless silver wing feathers. The pretty-looking female cultivator on the stage was holding up the main feather of the taintless flying phoenix, the taintless silver wing feathers. The speed of the taintless flying phoenix was incomparably fast, and was simply difficult to catch. The main feather of the taintless flying phoenix was even more priceless. The main feather of the top-grade taintless flying phoenix could be used to craft a very high-quality flight-type true artifact magical weapon. Moreover for Ning Cheng, these two taintless silver wing feathers also had another use, which was to allow his twin heavenly cloud wings to advance. Regarding the introduction of the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves, Ning Cheng did not know much, he only knew that these two leaves could be refined into the twin heavenly cloud wings, and could even be upgraded. As for the level of the twin heavenly cloud wings, Ning Cheng was not very clear about it. But there was one thing that Ning Cheng was sure of, that was that the twin heavenly cloud wings' introduction of 1,000 miles in a flash was absolutely not false. But his twin heavenly cloud wings, compared to the 1,000 miles in a flash, was still too far away. If he could obtain this pair of taintless silver wing feathers, then he could then think of a way to help his twin heavenly cloud wings to advance. How good would that be? Before he came to the auction, he did not know that there was such a feather being auctioned. It seems that the poster outside only had a few rare things written on it. This is a pair of taintless silver wing feathers, these are the two main feathers of the taintless flying phoenix. The value of the taintless silver wing feathers must be very clear to the friends sitting here. Even if you add a piece of taintless silver wing feathers to any flight-type magical weapon, the grade and speed of the flight-type magical weapon would immediately rise by several levels. What's more, here is a pair of... The pretty-looking female cultivator showed a charming smile. Everyone please be quiet, this pair of taintless silver wing feathers has a base price of 5 million spirit stones, each increment must not be less than 100,000 spirit stones, now start the bidding. I bid 6 million, this pair of taintless silver wing feathers, I must. A strong voice abruptly appeared. If the previous auction was still going on without any waves, and there was no fighting or petty tricks, then when this pair of taintless silver wing feathers came out, it immediately changed the situation. 5 million. This strong voice obviously did not scare off the others. In just a breath of time, someone interrupted his words and quoted a price. Chapter 262. 7 million. 7 million spirit stones. Ning Cheng heard it very clearly, the voice that called out 7 million spirit stones belonged to Sun Hanrui. He gave a dark sigh in his heart. The big academies were much better, they simply did not need to hide their heads and show their tails, and could directly quote the price. Finally, even if they managed to obtain it, no one would dare to go to the academies. The taintless silver wing feathers were too important to him. If he could purchase these two taintless silver wing feathers, then he would be able to have countless opportunities to save his life in the future. At the same time, Ning Cheng was also clear, with his current net worth, wanting to purchase the taintless silver wing feathers was simply impossible. According to this price, this pair of taintless silver wing feathers would soon break through the 10 million spirit stones mark. Wealth comes from danger. If one did not take the risk, then one would not be able to obtain this pair of taintless silver wing feathers. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng pressed the call button in the booth. In the Heavenly Stars auction booth, there was a temporary call button. Once a cultivator came across a good thing, but their spirit stones were not enough, they could press this button. After this button was pressed, someone from the auction house would immediately come to contact them. At this time, you could use your own things as collateral to borrow the spirit stones from the auction house, but most of the cultivators would sell their own things to the auction house, in exchange for spirit stones. Because of this button, every year the auction house would bring in hundreds of millions of spirit stones in extra income. After Ning Cheng pressed the button, in just a few breaths, a charming young woman arrived at Ning Cheng's booth. This young woman gave Ning Cheng a bow, and spoke in a soft voice, "May I ask how the Heavenly Stars auction house can help you?" Ning Cheng clenched his teeth, and directly took out 10 bottles of spiritual enhancement true nectar and said, "These are 10 bottles of spiritual enhancement true nectar, how many spirit stones can you give me?" When the young woman saw the 10 bottles of spiritual enhancement true nectar, she immediately froze, but she quickly reacted, and then spoke again, "Please wait a moment." She only stood there for a moment, before she once again spoke to Ning Cheng, 30 million spirit stones. Apparently she had already obtained the reply from above. So ruthless ah! Ning Cheng said in his heart, something worth 50 million spirit stones, was suddenly reduced by 20 million. Even so, Ning Cheng did not hesitate for even half a moment, and directly nodded, "Deal." Ning Cheng did not take out the mirage stones, this thing was too sensitive, once he took it out, then perhaps even the auction house would investigate him. After the young woman left, the price of the taintless silver wing feathers had already risen to 17 million spirit stones. Moreover, the price was still rising, and there was no sign of it stopping. It could be seen that a good flight-type magical weapon was very important to all cultivators. The price continued to rise. Ning Cheng waited for a while, before the price finally reached 24 million. Ning Cheng did not hear Sun Hanrui's voice, even if she was a core disciple of a top-ranked academy, the amount of spirit stones she had on her was also limited. Sun Hanrui did not continue to bid, it was definitely because she did not have enough spirit stones on her. 25 million. Ning Cheng bid for the first time. With the preciousness of the taintless silver wing feather, at this time, there were only a few people who were bidding for it. Ning Cheng's abrupt entry into the competition immediately attracted the attention of the entire auction venue. Countless spiritual consciousnesses swept over, however, these spiritual consciousnesses were blocked by Ning Cheng's restrictions. As for forcibly breaking the restriction to see who Ning Cheng was, no one had done it yet. In the Heavenly Stars auction house, whether it was the original restrictions of the auction house or the restrictions set up by the guests themselves. If someone forcibly broke the restrictions of the room, it would be equivalent to looking down on the auction house. Then you would have to face the accountability of the Heavenly Stars auction house. This kind of responsibility was not something that an ordinary cultivator could afford. Humph! A cold snort arrived, and then this voice spoke. "I bid 26 million spirit stones, I really want to see, whose price is higher than my Ao Yang provinces." There was no obvious threat, but the threatening tone of the voice was undoubtedly exposed. In the Heavenly Stars auction house, as long as one did not speak any obvious threatening words, then no one would care about you. Although this cultivator's threat was blatant, but he did not say anything about who had a higher price than him, or who was courting death. The auction house would not care about such a thing. Ning Cheng had already heard this voice, it was the first person who had bid 6 million, and had even said that he must have the taintless silver wing feather. Originally this person was called Ao Yang Province. Ning Cheng did not know this Ao Yang Province, but since this person dared to speak in such a manner, it was obvious that he had some confidence in himself. 27 million. A lazy voice simply did not care about the threat of this Ao Yang Province, and did not hesitate to increase the price. At this point, the price was no longer increasing by 100,000, but rather increasing by 1 million. 28 million. Ning Cheng immediately increased the price, now that he had enough spirit stones on him. Wanting to use threats to make him give up on the taintless silver wing feather was absolutely impossible. However, Ning Cheng also had a bottom line in his heart. Once the price exceeded 40 million, then he would take the initiative to give up. He had already exposed the fact that he had a large amount of spiritual enhancement true nectar on him. If he continued to expose other things, then it would definitely not be a good thing. Interesting. After the lazy voice said that it was interesting, it did not continue to increase the price. 30 million. The voice from Aoyang province once again arrived, but this time it was not a threat, rather it was filled with intense anger. It was obvious that regardless of whether Ning Cheng bought this taintless silver wing feather or not, he had already offended this person. Ning Cheng had already thought about it. Once he obtained the taintless silver wing feather, how could he even put the threat from the Aoyang province in his eyes? He even dared to kill Gue Yuhai of the Gue Yuan city. Moreover, the Gue Yuan city had the existence of a crucible transformation cultivator. That Aoyang province was even more powerful, but he was not a crucible transformation cultivator. In order to improve his own strength, what else would he not dare to do? 35 million. Ning Cheng simply ignored the angry voice from the Aoyang province, and continued to increase the price. 32 million, but this friend just increased the price by 55, it really is boring. If you can't afford it, then don't buy it. If you want to buy it, then the price increase would always be less than others. Don't you feel ashamed of yourself? You might as well go home and ask your wife for a few more spirit stones, and then come here to bid. This time the one who increased the price was the lazy voice. He not only directly increased the price by 1.5 million, but also squeezed out Ning Cheng and the Aoyang province. His words were incomparably unpleasant to hear. Everyone knew what he meant, but the people who loved their face would still be squeezed out by him. The Aoyang province was a person who loved his face. Moreover, the price had already reached such a degree, it had already reached the bottom line that he could bear. If he wanted to increase the price, then he would have to increase it by at least 1.5 million spirit stones, bringing the total price to 33.5 million, otherwise he would just be making a fool of himself. The anger in the bottom of the Aoyang province's heart was rising an inch at a time. The reason why he signed up to threaten Ning Cheng was because he had some fame. If he increased the price by a little in front of so many people, then his reputation of making a fool of himself would definitely spread out. While the Aoyang province was hesitating for a moment, Ning Cheng immediately made a bid. What this old man said is right, adding a little bit of spirit stones each time really is a disgrace. I bid 40 million. Alas, since I have already come to this auction, why would I want to make a fool of myself? As soon as Ning Cheng's bid came out, it immediately caused a sensation in the entire auction venue. This time he increased the price by 8 million spirit stones. If he did not want to make a fool of himself, then the next bid would be at least 48 million. If he wanted to be able to hold his head high, then he would have to bid more than 50 million. The Aoyang province gave a stuffy snort. As he clenched his fists, he could not wait to immediately rush towards Ning Cheng and that lazy-looking kid's room, and blow up the other party's booth, and then pick up these two kids and tear them apart. But even if he had 10,000 guts, he would not dare to do such a thing in the Heavenly Stars auction venue. Good, you have guts. That lazy voice no longer had that lazy tone from before. After he spoke those words, all the people knew that the auction of the taintless silver wing feathers, the winner of booth 178 was the booth. How many spirit stones do we have left? In a booth that was several times more advanced than Ning Cheng's booth, a fair-skinned, quiet-looking middle-aged cultivator asked in a cold voice. Senior apprentice Brother Wen, we still have 42 million spirit stones, do you want to continue to increase the price? A male cultivator sitting next to this quiet-looking middle-aged cultivator quickly spoke up. The quiet-looking middle-aged cultivator waved his hand and spoke, no need, continuing to increase the price would only bring disgrace to oneself. In a moment you can go and find out who this person is. He is very arrogant. He is even more arrogant than that Aoyang province. The middle-aged cultivator's heart was stuffy with anger. He did not think that he would lift a stone and smash it on his own feet. He was sure that even if he increased the price to 42 million spirit stones, he would still not be able to buy the taintless silver wing feathers. Later on he would not be able to continue to compete, instead he would be even more ridiculed by the people. Unsurprisingly, a pair of taintless silver wing feathers was delivered into the hands of Ningcheng. Ningcheng suppressed the excitement in his heart, and did not immediately look at this pair of taintless silver wing feathers. He was still a bit worried in his heart, in case because of bidding for this pair of taintless silver wing feathers, he would not have enough spirit stones to buy the jade strip, then it would really be bad for him. The pretty-looking female cultivator smiled. Just a moment ago the taintless silver wing feathers were sold for 40 million high-grade spirit stones. This was definitely a sky-high price. A moment ago the pair of taintless silver wing feathers was obtained by the elder brother from booth 178. The whole process was very wonderful. Congratulations to this elder brother. This elder brother immediately threw out 40 million spirit stones. It really is a heroic spirit that soars to the sky, and is incomparably powerful. We also hope that this kind of wonderful auction will continue to appear. The next item that we are going to take out for auction is a jade strip. The pretty-looking female cultivator did not seem to know that her words not only made the other two people even more ashamed and angry, but also helped Ningcheng to draw even more hatred. Chapter 263. When Ningcheng heard the words jade strip, his heart immediately tightened. He guessed that this was definitely the jade strip that he wanted. As for the provocative words of the pretty-looking female cultivator who presided over the auction, how could Ningcheng not understand it? He simply did not take it to heart. Besides, even if he took it to heart, he would not be able to do anything to that female cultivator. The meaning behind this female cultivator's words was to tell others not to be cowards during the auction, and to obtain more benefits for the auction. As for Ningcheng's life or death, for her, it was not even worth mentioning. This jade strip has already been written on the poster. That's right, it is the whereabouts of the geocentric 9-yin essence. The geocentric 9-yin essence can be said to be one of the top spiritual objects. This is the condensation of the dissipated soul essence, a supreme treasure that can repair the soul. It is not an exaggeration to say that it can even bring the dead back to life. In the I Ching mainland, there are a lot of spiritual grasses that can repair a cultivator's soul essence, but these spiritual grasses and pills are far from being comparable to the geocentric 9-yin essence. When the pretty-looking female cultivator spoke till here, the entire venue turned silent. It was obvious that many people knew that the geocentric 9-yin essence was extremely precious, but in the end, the reason why the geocentric 9-yin essence was so precious, many people did not know. As if she knew that the others were listening to her explanation, the pretty-looking female cultivator's tone became even slower. Many of the spiritual grasses that can repair the soul and life essence have a certain degree of damage to the cultivator's life essence. Moreover, turning the spiritual grasses into pills is not a simple matter. But the geocentric 9-yin essence is not in this category. No matter how long you have fallen, as long as your soul essence still exists, the geocentric 9-yin essence can slowly repair itself. There is no time limit, there is no degree of damage. This is a treasure that goes against the heavens. Sure enough, after learning about the heaven-defying nature of the geocentric 9-yin essence, a burst of discussion broke out. Ningcheng also gave a dark sigh in his heart. No wonder that skeleton wanted the geocentric 9-yin essence. It seems that not only did he not have a corporeal body, even his soul essence was only a trace. Other people only had a trace of their soul essence left. There was no such thing as the huge heaven-opening talisman. Thinking of this, Ningcheng suddenly remembered another fellow. It was Feng Jian who he had met in the Mingot Sea. Feng Jian also only had a trace of his soul essence, but this fellow used the soul-nourishing wood to nourish his soul essence. It seems that he was not a simple person. Of course, what we are going to auction today is not the original geocentric 9-yin essence, but rather a jade strip. This jade strip records the possible locations where the geocentric 9-yin essence might appear. As for the authenticity of the location, my auction house is not responsible for it. Besides, even a single drop of the geocentric 9-yin essence is a priceless treasure. In case we can obtain a few drops, I think. Well, I see that everyone is in a hurry, so I won't say any more idle words. This jade strip will now be auctioned off. The base price is 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. Each increment must not be lower than 10,000. I bid 110,000 spirit stones. Just as the pretty female cultivator's voice fell, someone bid. After all, 100,000 spirit stones was not a lot. Everyone who could participate in the auction could afford it. 150,000 spirit stones, 170,000 spirit stones. This jade strip that recorded the whereabouts of the geocentric 9 essence was obviously very popular, as in just a short period of time, the price had already risen to 600,000 spirit stones. However, at this time, Ning Cheng had not yet made his move. Ning Cheng began to worry in his heart. He currently only had around 12 million spirit stones. With this kind of increase in the price, whether he could obtain this jade strip or not was another matter altogether. 1,300,000 spirit stones. 1,500,000, the price continued to rise. While Ning Cheng was still worried, the price had already broken through to 3 million. Ning Cheng did not continue to hesitate. 5 million spirit stones. Ning Cheng once again added 2 million spirit stones, causing the bidding voices to stagnate for a moment. Everyone knew that that fellow had come again. There were not many people who could come up with 5 million to bid for a jade strip. In fact, when the price reached 3 million, the people who were bidding were concentrated in a part of the booths. The elder brother who had just obtained the taintless silver wing feather has once again made his move. I really did not say anything wrong. This elder brother is very forthright. It seems that this geocentric 9 essence jade strip will once again fall into the hands of this elder brother. Today my Heavenly Stars auction house finally experienced what is called magnanimity. The pretty female cultivator who presided over the auction promptly added fuel to the fire. Ning Cheng was so angry that he couldn't help but curse in his heart. This father is very forthright with you, this slut. 5,100,000 spirit stones. A lazy voice once again called out the bid. Ning Cheng's heart sank. As soon as he heard this voice, he immediately knew who this person was. It was the same cultivator who had competed with him for the taintless silver wing feather, and ended up choking on his 8 million spirit stones bid. Seeing that this person had only added 10,000 spirit stones, Ning Cheng knew that he had already disgusted the other party a moment ago, and now the other party was deliberately disgusting him. This was most likely related to the words spoken by the female cultivator who presided over the auction, but Ning Cheng was helpless in his heart. Even if that female cultivator was a bit worse, he could only stare at her. Unfortunately, Ning Cheng did not have many spirit stones on him. If he had, he would definitely beat this person to the ground. 10 million spirit stones. Ning Cheng directly added another 5 million spirit stones. This was the last time he would increase the price. If the other party still wanted to increase the price, then he could only withdraw. Even if he was not happy in his heart, who told him to not have any spirit stones? The auction venue once again erupted with noise, but at this time no one was willing to increase the price. Although the geocentric 9 essence was precious, it was only a jade strip. In case this jade strip was a fake, then wouldn't it be crazy to spend more than 10 million spirit stones? Even if the jade strip was real, the geocentric 9 essence would not be easy to find. Otherwise, how could the auction house only sell jade strips? People would have already sent people to search for the geocentric 9 essence. For this jade strip to be able to sell for 3 million spirit stones, it was already the highest price in theory, but now the price had been inflated to 10 million spirit stones by these two madmen. The pretty female cultivator's face was like a blossoming flower. As she spoke in a provocative tone, this elder brother once again increased the price. This time he increased it by 949 million spirit stones. Being able to become this elder brother's Dao companion for dual cultivation is truly a happy thing. At least we do not need to worry about spirit stones for our cultivation. Even I am a bit moved by this elder brother. Now the price of the geocentric 9 essence jade strip has already reached 10 million spirit stones, 10 million spirit stones. But this price is not necessarily the highest, because this time my Heavenly Stars auction house is filled with powerhouses from all over the world. Maybe there will be even more heroic lords. We will just have to wait and see. 1 million spirit stones. The lazy voice once again called out a price. When Ning Cheng heard this voice, his heart completely sank. He knew that the spirit stones that he had prepared were indeed not enough. After purchasing the taintless silver wing feather, he was no longer able to compete for the geocentric 9 essence jade strip. Heavens, there is actually another lord who has bid more than 10 million spirit stones, even surpassing the elder brother who had just bid. I can't believe it. 10 million high-grade spirit stones. I do not know if this elder brother who had just won the taintless silver wing feather in such a heroic manner would continue to increase the price, but I believe that with this elder brother's courage, he would definitely continue to increase the price. We are just waiting for an even more hot-blooded price to come out. The pretty-looking female cultivator presiding over the auction spoke in an even more exaggerated tone. Even the people participating in the auction held their breaths, waiting for Ning Cheng to increase the price. All the people thought that Ning Cheng would definitely continue to increase the price. Even the quiet-looking cultivator who bid 1 million, also thought that Ning Cheng would definitely put out a higher price. After a few breaths, a voice finally came out from the booth number 178. I really wanted to increase the price, but thinking that I had exposed too many spirit stones, and someone wanted to cry and shout to become my Tao companion, I just couldn't help but have goosebumps all over my body. But thinking about it, forget about it. Holding such a disgusting woman, how can I even sleep at night? After Ning Cheng's words came out, the entire venue fell into a brief silence, but soon broke out into bursts of laughter. Almost all the people understood who Ning Cheng's words were aimed at. There were no fools here. The pretty-looking female cultivator presiding over the auction had taken Ning Cheng as a spendthrift. She wanted to encourage Ning Cheng to continue to increase the price, and then become the fisherman who reaps the benefits. Unfortunately, the booth number 178 did not give her even a little bit of face, and directly spoke out those extremely ugly words. These words were obviously aimed at the female cultivator presiding over the auction. Previously, the female cultivator presiding over the auction had said that being able to become this elder brother's dual cultivation Tao companion was truly a happy thing. Even she was somewhat moved by this elder brother. The other party was immediately not willing to increase the price, but instead said that hugging such a woman to sleep would give him goosebumps. The face of the pretty-looking female cultivator presiding over the auction was suddenly covered with a layer of frost, and no longer had that kind of cheerful expression from a moment ago. She was also a famous figure in the Heavenly Stars auction house. Now that she was insulted in such a manner, how could she endure this kind of anger? As for whether or not she was the one who provoked Ning Cheng first, she had long since automatically ignored it. Perhaps in her subconscious mind, she was able to say such witty words, because she thought highly of the other party. Unfortunately, she just happened to meet someone like Ning Cheng who did not buy her words. Son of a bitch. In another booth, a seemingly very quiet middle-aged cultivator suddenly stood up, with an angry expression on his face. He did not think that Ning Cheng would actually not increase the price, as he simply did not want this jade strip. The reason why he was bidding was entirely to take revenge for the enmity of not being able to obtain the taintless silver wing feather, and to make Ning Cheng pay a few more spirit stones. Senior apprentice brother 1, I suspect that this guy is deliberately trying to disgust us, so after we increased the price to 1 million, he actually shrank back. Another cultivator next to this quiet middle-aged cultivator immediately spoke up. The quiet middle-aged cultivator's face had already restored its calm, as he waved his hand and spoke, but it's just a trivial 10 million spirit stones, I do not care about it. Number 178, number 178. I bid 1 million spirit stones. Just when everyone thought that no one would continue to increase the price, unexpectedly someone once again increased the price. Ning Cheng was also very puzzled. He could hear that the lazy voice was deliberately targeting him, but who was this new bidder? Or was it an incomparably clear and crisp female cultivator's voice? However, no matter who it was, Ning Cheng did not intend to stay in this place. He stood up and left the booth without hesitation. This place was not a place to stay for long. Since he did not have the opportunity to obtain it, then he would have to wait until later. As for continuing to sell the good things in the auction house for spirit stones, Ning Cheng did not even think about it. Chapter 264. That person went out of the box, moreover Ao Yangzhou also went out. I still need to buy something. Go out and take a look. If the other party was a sea-opening realm cultivator, then he would temporarily remember his aura. If it's a cultivator below the sea-cleaving realm, get someone to tie down Ao Yang province, and then get rid of him before Ao Yang province. The quiet middle-aged cultivator did not continue to increase the price. Instead, he looked at the communication bead in his hand and said to the male cultivator beside him. Senior apprentice brother Wen, rest assured, I will definitely take care of this matter. Another male cultivator next to him immediately said with certainty. Robbing my Ao Yang province's things, you want to leave? Ao Yang Prefecture immediately knew that Ning Cheng had come out of the auction house, as such he did not hesitate to leave the booth. Where is he? Ao Yangzhou walked out of the auction house and immediately asked. Senior, this junior didn't notice. A timid voice arrived. The one who spoke was a thin and small male cultivator standing not far from the Ao Yang province. Ao Yang state was enraged. From the time that cultivator came out until now, only a few breaths of time have passed, yet you say you didn't keep an eye on him? My spirit stones are easy to earn, right? No, senior, that person activated an escape talisman as soon as he came out, and has already left the makeshift market. The skinny male cultivator quickly explained. After saying that, he took out a crystal ball and said, this is the image of this person's appearance. Listening to these words, Ao Yang frowned. If it was a high-level escape talisman, then its price would definitely be more than 1,000,000 spirit stones. However, other people might be reluctant to use the escape talisman, but this guy who bought the taintless silver wing feathers should not be reluctant to use it. Humph. Ao Yangzhou coldly snorted, as he used his spiritual awareness to feel around him. Then, he suddenly grabbed the crystal ball, and at the same time, his body flashed and disappeared. Ning Cheng's escape talismans came from Gue Yuhai. Moreover, the grade of these escape talismans were not low. The escape talisman was not something he could buy with his spirit stones, so he would not be reluctant to part with an escape talisman. Therefore, as soon as Ning Cheng came out of the auction house, he simply did not care if anyone chased after him, and immediately activated the escape talisman that he had already prepared in his hands. After the effect of the escape talisman disappeared, Ning Cheng knew that he was definitely not close to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. The first thing he did was find a place to completely remove his disguise. Then, he summoned his flying magic treasure and quickly left. Ning Cheng had not returned to the rest stop for a day and a night, causing Liang Kersen to realize that Ning Cheng must have encountered some trouble. She did not know what kind of trouble Ning Cheng had encountered, but she was sure that if Ning Cheng encountered trouble here, then even she would not be able to help him. After waiting for a day, Ning Cheng still had not returned. Liang Kersen decided not to continue to wait, as she went to the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone alone. Now that she had prepared everything, as long as she joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, it would be tantamount to completing her first step. Are you junior sister Liang Kersen? A pleasantly surprised voice sounded from behind Liang Kersen. Liang Kersen quickly turned around, and when she saw that it was Sun Hanrui, she quickly gave a respectful bow and spoke, so it was Senior Apprentice Sister Sun. Many thanks for Senior Apprentice Sister Sun's help, otherwise I would not have the qualifications to come to this sword stone. There were two other people besides Sun Hanrui. One was a young male cultivator, and the other was a female cultivator wearing a red robe. Liang Kersen had seen that male cultivator before. It was the young man who had walked together with Sun Hanrui a few days ago. Who is she? The red-robed female cultivator asked Sun Hanrui in a puzzled manner. She knew that Sun Hanrui did not have many friends, and even fewer friends had the cultivation of profound congealing realm, so how could she suddenly have a friend with the cultivation of profound congealing realm? Sun Hanrui quickly spoke. This is junior apprentice sister Liang Kersen. She is a friend of Ning Cheng. That's right, Ning Cheng and senior apprentice brother Xiaomei went to the Fu Ling villa together. Junior apprentice sister Liang, this is Fu Xingnan, her big brother is a friend of Ning Cheng. Greetings senior apprentice sister Fu. Liang Kursen did not know about the twists and turns in this matter, but she knew that the reason why Sun Hanrui helped her and Ning Cheng was because of this Fu Xingnan's big brother. So when she heard that this female cultivator was the little sister of Ning Cheng's friend, she quickly gave a respectful greeting. "Is it him?" Fu Xingnan's face immediately turned ugly, and then she spoke in a cold voice, "Do not try to get close to me, I have seen a lot of people like you." The man who had previously ridiculed Fu Xiaomei as a sissy, when he saw the expression on Fu Xingnan's face, he immediately knew that Fu Xingnan and Ning Cheng had some kind of gap between them, and quickly added a fire and spoke, that Ning Cheng and junior apprentice brother Xiaomei are acquainted with each other, and a few days ago stopped me and junior apprentice sister Hanrui, and even asked for junior apprentice sister Hanrui's help, in order to get 2 spots for the Rainbow Fall Sword. Sex disciple selection. I knew it, he really is shameless to the extreme. Fu Xingnan stared at Liang Kursen and spoke in a sarcastic tone. Liang Kursen's pink face immediately turned red, even her hands were trembling with anger, but she did not hesitate to take out the jade card and put it in the hands of Sun Hanrui and spoke, "Many thanks senior apprentice sister Sun for helping me, now I will return the jade card to senior apprentice sister." Sun Hanrui's face did not even change, and was still smiling, as she pushed the jade card back to Liang Kursen and spoke, "Junior apprentice sister Liang, Ning Cheng is a good person, and is also a friend of mine Besides, you are also a friend of mine I helped my friend to get 2 jade cards, and now junior apprentice sister Liang still wants to return them to me, are you looking down on this friend of mine?" Liang Kursen had been wandering outside all year round, as such she obviously understood the meaning behind Sun Hanrui's words. The color on her face gradually faded, as she quickly spoke, "Many thanks senior apprentice sister Sun, to be able to make friends with senior apprentice sister Sun, it really is an honor for me. I had thought that senior apprentice sister Sun had helped me because of someone else, if not, then I would feel relieved." Sun Hanrui once again gave a calm smile and spoke, "You can rest assured, I was the one who helped you out of my own will. If you really feel that you owe me a favor, then you and Ning Cheng owe me a favor." Humph. Fu Xingnan, on seeing that Sun Hanrui did not even give her face sank, as she turned around and walked away. It was obvious that her heart was already feeling uncomfortable. Sun Hanrui did not care about it, and just spoke to Liang Kursen, "Come on, that's right, why didn't I see Ning Cheng coming over?" "Oh, Ning Cheng went out to take care of some things, he might come back in a while." Liang Kursen quickly replied. "Good, then you should strive to join the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, I'll be leaving first." Saying that, Sun Hanrui immediately chased after Fu Xingnan. The man at the Soul Essence 5th level who was with Sun Hanrui suddenly spoke up, this time junior apprentice sister Xingnan might really be angry. Sun Hanrui gave a faint smile and spoke, "No, Xingnan's anger comes and goes quickly, moreover it is not the first time for her to act like this. Junior apprentice sister Hanrui, the fact is that those 2 profound congealing cultivators are simply not worth mentioning, why would you want to make things difficult for your sister for them?" The young man spoke with a smile in his tone. Sun Hanrui gave a faint smile, but did not answer the question of this young man. She and Fu Xingnan were just friends and sisters, if she had to consider the mood of the other party in everything she did, then she might as well not go out and cultivate. Her temperament was soft on the outside, but firm on the inside, as such she would absolutely not allow external factors to affect her actions. "So be it, I'll go and persuade Xingnan." The young male cultivator at the side of Sun Hanrui spoke out with a smile, as he also sped up his pace. "Junior apprentice sister Xingnan, Hanrui did not do it intentionally, please do not take it to heart." That young male cultivator quickly caught up with Fu Xingnan who was walking slowly. Fu Xingnan's face was still a little uncomfortable, "Hanrui is really something, she obviously knows that I hate that guy, and yet she still helped me." As Fu Xingnan spoke till here, she suddenly thought of something, as she turned around and looked at the young male cultivator who had caught up with her and spoke, "Senior apprentice brother Wen, that Ning Cheng is going to participate in the disciple selection, can you find someone to help me kill him? Anyway, it is going to be a match on the battle ring, even if I kill him, no one would dare to say anything." "You want to kill him?" The young male cultivator also looked at Fu Xingnan in amazement, although he was not happy with Ning Cheng, but he only wanted to teach Ning Cheng a lesson, and had never thought of killing Ning Cheng. That's right, I must kill this guy. I really can't understand why Hanrui would want to help this kind of person, it really pisses me off. Fu Xingnan spoke in a very unreconciled tone. The young male cultivator suddenly smiled and spoke, an intermediate stage profound congealing cultivator, for me, he is just an ant. Since junior apprentice sister Xingnan wants to kill this guy, then I will arrange it, I guarantee that he will finally disappear from this world in a just and honorable manner. Then many thanks senior apprentice brother one. Fu Xingnan immediately cast a gentle look in his direction. When Ning Cheng arrived at the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect's Sword Stone, the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect's disciple selection had already begun. On top of the incomparably huge Sword Stone, there was a dense crowd of cultivators. There were 30 battle rings erected in the middle of the Sword Stone, and each of the battle rings was surrounded by countless cultivators. It really is a sword stone that is even bigger than the public square. Ning Cheng spoke to himself in his heart, he really had never seen such a huge stone before. At this time, the sword stone was densely packed with people, and there were even people surging everywhere. There were several huge array formation displays erected in the most obvious positions. The array formation displays displayed the number of people fighting against each other, as well as which battle ring they were on. Ning Cheng did not dare to use his spiritual consciousness to sweep through the entire sword stone, as he knew that Liang Kersen would definitely come. His spiritual consciousness fell on the huge array formations display screen and quickly found his name. Number 3000 Ning Cheng versus number 631 Wuzhua, Battle Ring 9. Ning Cheng quickly squeezed his way to the edge of the Battle Ring 9, he did not dare to delay any longer. The array formation displays clearly stated that as long as one did not come onto the stage within the time it would take to drink half a cup of tea, then it would be counted as a negative. If both of them did not come, then both of them would be counted as a negative. On the Battle Ring 9, there were already 2 people fighting, both of them were intermediate stage profound congealing cultivators, one was at profound congealing 4th level, while the other was at profound congealing 6th level. When Ning Cheng squeezed his way to the periphery of the Battle Ring 9, the profound congealing 4th level cultivator immediately activated a talisman towards the profound congealing 6th level cultivator. The profound congealing 6th level cultivator originally had the upper hand, but when he saw the profound congealing 4th level cultivator bring out a talisman, he also did not hesitate to bring out a talisman. The 2 talismans collided with each other and exploded, while the profound congealing 6th level cultivator, in the midst of this explosion, brought out a flying needle. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was very powerful, as such he could clearly see that the profound congealing 4th level cultivator was plotted against by this flying needle, causing him to instantly fall onto the battle ring, and it looked like he was about to die. Ning Cheng secretly thought in his heart, this thing was somewhat similar to the 7 Pleiades ice needle that he had used before. Number 913 Yin Yong wins, next is number 3000 Ning Cheng against number 631 Wuzhua. The cultivator presiding over the battle ring immediately called out. Chapter 265. When Ning Cheng heard his name being called, he immediately rushed onto the stage. He was already fast enough, but there was someone even faster than him. A yellow-robed male cultivator, just like a shadow, flew ahead of him and landed in the middle of the 9th battle platform. Number 3000's luck is really bad. He actually met Wuzhua. Even if he did not meet Wuzhua, relying on his intermediate stage profound congealing cultivation, it should be very difficult for him to advance, right? After Ning Cheng and Wuzhua came onto the stage, some of the cultivators in the audience who knew Wuzhua started to whisper to each other. Seeing that the 2 of them had already stepped onto the stage, the cultivator presiding over the 9th battle stage lazily called out, "Begin." When the yellow-robed cultivator heard that the match had started, he did not even say a single word. Instead, he directly brought out a cyan-colored thunder shovel and smashed it towards Ning Cheng. Moreover, with the overflowing true essence, the imposing manner brought about by the magical weapon was incomparably powerful, even the restrictions covering the battle stage were being bombarded by it. This kind of imposing manner was far beyond that of ordinary profound congealing cultivators. Ning Qing was very puzzled in his heart. The opposite party was a cultivator at the great circle of the profound congealing realm. According to reason, if a cultivator at the great circle of the profound congealing realm wanted to defeat him, a cultivator at the profound congealing 7th level, wouldn't he need to go all out? This idea only flashed slightly in Ning Cheng's mind, before he did not continue to care about it. He had even killed a soul essence cultivator, although he had relied on the self-destruction of a soul essence puppet, but he had still managed to kill a soul essence cultivator. A profound congealing cultivator and a soul essence cultivator were worlds apart. Moreover, there was even a profound core realm between them. Even if the other party was twice as strong, he still wouldn't take them seriously. Bringing out the profound break spear, he only brought out a simple spear pattern, which was able to block the berserk imposing manner of the blue-colored thunder shovel. If Ning Qing wanted to kill this yellow-robed cultivator called Wuzhua, then as long as his profound break spear continued to roll up his spear intent, it would be able to bind the opposite party's cyan-colored thunder shovel. Then he could casually use his fists, or use the profound ice spear technique, or even use some other methods. He could easily kill Wuzhua. There was no need for a second move. Ning Qing did not intend to kill Wuzhua. Everyone was here to participate in the disciple selection, as such there was no need to use such a heavy hand. After using his profound break spear to block the blue-colored thunder spade that was spreading across the battle ring, it immediately came to a stop. In Ning Cheng's view, as long as Wuzhua was not a fool, he would definitely take the initiative to admit defeat. But what Ning Cheng could not figure out was that not only did Wuzhua not admit defeat, the blue thunder shovel crazily surged out bursts of murderous aura. After blowing away Ning Cheng's spear pattern, it turned into a blue thunder line that smashed towards Ning Cheng's glabella. It seemed that he knew that this blue-colored thunder line might not be able to kill Ning Cheng, as Wuzhua raised his hand and unexpectedly took out 2 talismans, while simultaneously stimulating the talismans in his hands. Ning Qing himself was able to refine rank 5 talismans, so when Wuzhua took out the 2 talismans, he immediately knew that they were rank 5 talismans. A rank 5 talisman was enough to kill a profound congealing cultivator, not to mention 2 of them. Not only did this person want to defeat him, but he also wanted to kill him. Ning Qing instantly came to understand. No wonder Wuzhua's attacks were so crazy. It was because of this that he had to hold himself back. If it was before, then Ning Qing did not intend to kill Wuzhua, but after knowing that Wuzhua wanted to kill him, he did not hold back even for half a moment. Powerful true essence stirred up in an instant, and the talisman in Wuzhua's hand that was about to be activated immediately paused. During this gap, Ning Cheng's profound break spear had already shot out. That blue-colored thunder line, under the terrifying true essence of the profound break spear, directly collapsed, while the profound break spear's momentum did not slow down even for a moment, as it immediately cut through the distance between the 2 of them, before exploding on top of Wuzhua's glabella. Wuzhua could not believe it as he looked at the profound break spear that had already pierced through his glabella, while the talisman in his hand, which had already been activated by more than half, immediately dimmed down. He really could not figure it out. How could a profound congealing cultivator be powerful to such an extent? I do not want to kill you, but I will never let go of the people who want to kill me. If someone wanted you to kill me, then this person who asked you to kill me, would want to borrow my hand to kill you. Ning Cheng's tone was filled with sarcasm. He really could not figure out why this person, whom he did not even know, would want to kill him. His last sentence was just a probe. He did not know if there was someone who asked Wuzhua to kill him or not. Wuzhua's pupils gradually enlarged, or perhaps it was Ning Cheng's last sentence that made him sober up, as he spoke in a disjointed voice. The one who gave me the talisman, and asked me to kill you, was Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's core disciple Wen Han, Putong. After saying this sentence, Wuzhua was no longer able to stand, as he directly fell down on the battle ring, and died. The cultivator presiding over the tournament spoke in a flat tone. Contestant 3000 Ning Qing wins. Next, senior apprentice brother Wen, that guy should have been killed, right? In the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's main hall, Fu Xingnan suddenly asked a young male cultivator beside her in a soft voice. That young male cultivator gave a faint smile, junior apprentice sister Xingnan, please rest assured, he is just a puny intermediate stage profound congealing cultivator. Wu Zhuo is famous for his fierceness in the Rainbow Fall makeshift market, moreover he is also at the great circle of the profound congealing realm. Coupled with the few rank 5 talismans that I gave him, for him to kill an intermediate stage profound congealing ant, it would be extremely simple. That's good, thank you senior apprentice brother Wen, if this person is not killed, then my heart will always feel uncomfortable. Fu Xingnan gave a sigh, even if Ning Cheng was killed, her heart would still feel some knots. A puny profound congealing ant, unexpectedly dared to tell her, a soul essence cultivator, to fuck off. It was a pity that she could not kill this guy with her own hands. This is just a trivial matter. The young male cultivator called senior apprentice brother Wen did not care about it and spoke out. Senior apprentice brother Wen. A slightly excited voice interrupted the young male cultivator's words, and then a male cultivator with a short stature anxiously walked over. When senior apprentice brother Wen saw this male cultivator, he immediately gave a chuckle and spoke, so it is junior apprentice brother Fu. Seeing junior apprentice brother Fu smiling like this, it must be something good. Senior apprentice brother Wen, take a look at the 17th assignment that has just been issued. This male cultivator with a short stature pointed to the huge array formation screen in front of him and spoke. Fu Xingnan had already seen it, and spoke up in a somewhat surprised voice, the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country are at war, moreover the war is so fierce. The junior apprentice brother Fu who had just arrived immediately spoke up, of course, the 2 true countries are now innumerable barren lands, the number of cities that have been destroyed is simply innumerable. As the cultivator surnamed Fu spoke until here, he lowered his tone a bit, this assignment definitely has great benefits, moreover, the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country are not under the jurisdiction of our Rainbow Fall Sword sect, so why would our academy issue this assignment? Moreover, why would we send some soul essence disciples to take a look at it? Moreover, with the 2 true countries competing, what kind of great benefits would there be? Fu Xingnan spoke up in doubt. At this time, that senior apprentice brother Wen also saw the academy's assignment, and was also somewhat puzzled. The cultivator surnamed Fu spoke up in a low voice, senior apprentice sister Xian has already signed up, even senior apprentice brother K has signed up. If there were no great benefits, then why would the true inheriting disciples sign up? Moreover, I heard that many of the major academies' true inheriting disciples and core disciples would also go there. This time the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country are at war, it is definitely not simple. Is what you said true? Senior apprentice brother Wen asked in an excited tone, he had been busy outside for the past few days, and had just returned to the academy, as such he did not even know about this kind of news. He certainly knew who senior apprentice sister Xian was, it was the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's #1 beauty, Luo Xian. Even in the Tian continent, there was no one who could surpass her, at best they could only stand side by side with her. Not only that, Luo Xian also had the cultivation of the great circle of the soul essence realm, and was only a step away from the soul sculpting realm. As for senior apprentice brother K, he was one of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's twin geniuses, K Hengshui. Both of them had the same cultivation of the great circle of the soul essence realm, and possessed incomparably powerful strength. Even among the soul essence cultivators of the entire Tian continent, he was considered as one of the best. For 2 people like this from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to sign up at the same time, it definitely indicated that the war between the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country was definitely not simple, and definitely involved some top-level good things. Let's also sign up, let's go and ask junior apprentice sister Hanrui, no matter what, I have to make a trip there. Senior apprentice brother Wen's eyes showed a trace of eagerness. I'll go call her, I also want to go. Fu Xingnan also spoke up with eagerness, senior apprentice brother K was like a god in her heart, if even senior apprentice brother K would go, then how could she not go? Maybe she would even have the opportunity to team up with senior apprentice brother Quebec. After Ning Qing easily killed Wu Zhuo, he participated in a few more fights, and was able to easily defeat his opponents, as such he did not encounter any challenges. Other than Wu Zhuo, there were no other cultivators who wanted to kill him. He only defeated his opponents, even minor injuries rarely occurred. The cultivator presiding over the 9th battle platform was very satisfied. He could see that Ning Cheng's cultivation was much more powerful compared to the average profound congealing cultivators. Moreover, this cultivator knew how to act appropriately, and was able to let people off easily. As for Ning Cheng killing Wu Zhuo in the first round, he was a soul essence cultivator, so of course he could see it with a single glance. It was that Wu Zhuo who wanted to kill Ning Cheng first, and Ning Cheng who wanted to kill him instead. A day quickly passed by, and Ning Cheng easily entered the top 300 ranks. After killing Wu Zhuo, he did not encounter any more trouble, causing Ning Cheng to feel very puzzled. Why did that Wen Han only sent a Wu Zhuo, and then there was no more news about him? How could he know that Wen Han simply did not put him in his eyes, to the point that he did not even bother to arrange a messenger for him? In Wen Han's view, Ning Cheng would die without a doubt, so why would he continue to pay attention to such an ant? This time the Rainbow Fall Sword sect wanted to recruit 100 inner sect disciples, of which 70 had already been determined based on their spiritual roots and cultivation. Therefore, although Ning Cheng had entered the top 300, but he could only compete for the remaining 30 spots. Big brother Ning, I knew that you would definitely come. As soon as the match ended, Liang Kersen immediately came to find Ning Cheng. Junior apprentice sister Liang, I believe that we will soon be able to become inner sect disciples. Ning Cheng had already seen Liang Kersen's match. Liang Kersen had won even more easily than him. It can be said that entering the top 30 was not a problem at all. Liang Kersen carefully looked around, and then sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng. Big brother Lin, I met Fu Xingnan before the match. After listening to Liang Kersen's words, Ning Cheng was already suspecting in his heart that senior apprentice brother Wen who wanted to deal with him was arranged by Fu Xingnan. Chapter 266. Although the inner sect disciple recruitment looked very lively, but Ning Cheng knew that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect did not attach much importance to the inner sect disciple recruitment. One only needed to look at the entire process of the competition to know that there weren't many big shots appearing. However, this did not affect Ning Cheng's mood. His purpose was to join the inner sect, and then find an opportunity to enter the small spiritual domain to cultivate. The next day, Ning Cheng and Liang Kersen arrived at the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone early in the morning, ready to participate in the selection of the last 30 spots. This kind of competition was not even half a challenge for Ning Cheng, as such he could compete however he wanted. Ning Cheng's first opponent was a tall male cultivator with the cultivation of profound congealing 9th level. This male cultivator obviously knew about Ning Cheng's strength, but at the same time he also knew about Ning Cheng's temperament. As long as they did not try to kill Ning Cheng, then no matter how they lost, they would still be safe and sound. Although he was feeling very depressed in his heart, as to how did he end up meeting this Ning Cheng, but he still cupped his fists and spoke. Chunyuzhen asked senior apprentice brother Ning to enlighten me. I also ask senior apprentice brother Ning to show mercy. Even if his cultivation was higher than Ning Cheng, he still addressed Ning Cheng as senior apprentice brother. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. Well said, please start. After saying this sentence, Ning Cheng suddenly felt that something was wrong. A fierce gaze filled with killing intent fell onto him. His spiritual consciousness was incomparably powerful, moreover his Zifu and meridians were completely reshaped by the mysterious yellow origin, as such this kind of killing intent simply could not escape his senses. Ning Cheng carefully swept out with his spiritual consciousness, and immediately saw 8 or 9 young men and women standing on the main platform watching the tournament below. At the same time, he also saw a few familiar faces, as he could clearly see Fu Xingnan's fierce gaze filled with killing intent. It's that woman again. I didn't expect her to come to watch the competition. In addition to this woman, there were 7 or 8 other people standing on the main altar watching the tournament. These young men and women were all soul essence cultivators. The 2 people with the highest cultivation were already at the great circle of the soul essence realm. Ning Cheng directly ignored Fu Xingnan. In his eyes Fu Xingnan was just another passerby. What surprised him was that among this group of young men and women, there were 2 cultivators in the great circle of the soul essence realm who were not older than him. As Ning Qing saw this, he was even more yearning for the small spiritual domain. In his opinion, for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to have so many young experts, it was absolutely inseparable from the small spiritual domain. At this time Chunyuzhen's attack was already fully unleashed, Ning Qing had to carefully deal with it, and was not able to quickly defeat Chunyuzhen. He could feel a few spiritual consciousnesses sweeping over him from time to time, coupled with the fact that he and Fu Xingnan had some kind of conflict, as such he had to be more cautious. Also, Chunyuzhen couldn't force him to use his trump card. Senior Brother Wen, what's going on? How is this guy still alive and well? Fu Xingnan looked at senior apprentice Brother Wen, who was not far from her, and asked, although she was somewhat dissatisfied in her heart, but she also did not dare to really question senior apprentice Brother Wen. The cultivator surnamed Wen also frowned. I don't know, I gave Wu Zhuo several grade 5 talismans, it is reasonable to say that this fellow should not appear on the stage today. From the looks of it now, it was Wu Zhuo who was killed by him. But I saw that his attacks were only ordinary. How could Wu Zhuo lose to him? Fu Xingnan pursed her lips and did not speak. She decided that she would not ask anyone for help, and would rather do it herself. The cultivator surnamed Wen could also feel Fu Xingnan's dissatisfaction, as he gave a faint smile and spoke, it's just an ant, junior apprentice sister Xingnan, rest assured, this time I don't know what kind of trick he used. I will let him understand in the shortest possible time, the consequences of offending junior apprentice sister Xingnan. Seemingly satisfied with the words of this cultivator surnamed Wen, Fu Xingnan did not say anything, and just nodded. Sun Hanrui, who was standing not far away, looked at the expression between the cultivator surnamed Wen and Fu Xingnan, as if she was lost in thought. The other few people were also watching the situation on the battle stage with rapt attention. It seemed that the fight between the profound congealing cultivators was very attractive to these few soul essence cultivators. Standing on the right side of the main stage were two female cultivators, one was wearing a purple robe, while the other was wearing a blue-colored floral robe. Senior apprentice sister Xian, look at that brown-robed cultivator on the 6th battle stage, he has the cultivation of great circle of profound congealing realm, moreover his attacks are very fierce and decisive, which far surpasses ordinary profound congealing cultivators. The one who spoke was the female cultivator wearing the floral robe. Senior apprentice sister Xian nodded and spoke, that's right, among these battle stages, this person should be considered as the most powerful one. You pay attention to him, if he is willing, then you can take him with you. How could he not be willing? This kind of opportunity does not come by often. The female cultivator wearing the blue floral robe giggled and spoke, what's more, if he saw senior apprentice sister's appearance, then maybe he would faint. He would definitely be thinking in his heart, where did such a beautiful fairy come from? Don't be so talkative, just pick one or two more. Senior apprentice sister Xian spoke in a bad mood. Ning Cheng's low profile soon caused the spiritual consciousness observing him to shift away. Even if someone occasionally swept over with their spiritual consciousness, it was only to observe the situation of his opponents. 30 battle stages were used to decide the top 30, moreover there was no round-robin tournament, as they only needed to take the first place on each battle stage. In just over half a day, the results came out. Ning Qing obtained the first place on the 9th battle stage, while Yang Kersen obtained the first place on the 17th battle stage. Each of them entered the top 30, and became the inner sect disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. To be able to obtain the first place on their respective battle stages, it was obvious that they were not simple people, as almost all of the 30 contestants had their own unique skills. Only Ning Qing on the 9th battle stage was an exception. Although Ning Qing won every match, but each and every match was won in a regular and ordinary manner. He had already regarded Fu Xingnan as a potential enemy, as such he would never let Fu Xingnan see through any of his killing moves. Therefore, other than Ning Qing on the 9th battle stage, the other contestants on the other battle stages had already been repeatedly evaluated. After the 30 disciples were selected, an old man with a long beard suddenly flew up and landed on the main stage of the battle stage. Even the young soul essence cultivators on the main stage, on seeing this old man come up, immediately gave way to the two sides. Ning Cheng, who was standing together with the other 29 selected cultivators, guessed that this old man should have some status in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. After the old man landed on the main stage, he glanced at the 30 people, and gave a satisfied nod, before he spoke in a clear voice. First of all, I would like to congratulate the 30 geniuses who managed to obtain the top 30 positions. Congratulations on becoming the inner sect disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. You will have your own immortal cave, and can even study the Tao laws of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect is one of the major academies of the Tian continent, and every time it recruits disciples, it would be very grand. Only this time it seems to be a bit rushed. In fact, this time it is not the time for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to recruit disciples, but rather a temporary inner sect disciple recruitment. Seeing that there was a bit of noise coming from below, the old man used his hand to suppress the noise and spoke, but the inner sect disciples who are selected this time, perhaps you will get a benefit that you could not even dream of. Now I would like to invite all the selected inner sect disciples to enter the quest distribution hall. Ning Cheng suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. He felt that he did not go all out this time, and what he did was not very correct. Big brother Ning, let's hurry up. Liang Kersen was very excited. No matter what, she was already a genuine inner sect disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Ning Cheng and Liang Kersen followed a group of people to the quest distribution hall, and found that there were already a lot of people here. Ning Cheng did not need to ask, he could already guess that these cultivators who had arrived first, should be the first batch of 70 inner sect disciples. But what made Ning Cheng puzzled was that those young soul essence cultivators who were watching the tournament from the main platform also came here. After all the people came in, a middle-aged cultivator came to the front and spoke. This time the 100 inner sect disciples recruited are all here. Before Elder Hong had spoken about an opportunity that everyone could not even dream of. Now I will tell everyone what this opportunity is. This opportunity is that for some of you, you might get a chance to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for a month. The middle-aged cultivator's words were immediately interrupted by a burst of excited voices. The reason why many cultivators were eager to enter the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was because the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had the small spiritual domain. But now someone actually said to them that they might get a chance to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for a month. This kind of thing made them even more excited. Ning Cheng's heart sank. He knew that he must have made a mistake. Those soul essence cultivators who were watching from the side, maybe it was for the sake of obtaining a spot to enter the small spiritual domain. However, when Ning Cheng's eyes swept towards Fu Xingnan who was staring at him with hatred, he suddenly calmed down. Even if he did not have the opportunity this time, in the future he would have the opportunity to enter the small spiritual domain. Besides, it was just a trifling 1 month, he did not care about it at all. Everyone calm down, listen to my explanation. The middle-aged male cultivator quickly used his hands to suppress the noise. He could understand this kind of excitement. After the crowd quieted down, the middle-aged male cultivator spoke up. This time the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country went to war, causing countless lives to be lost. Many of the academies have sent their important disciples to mediate the dispute, in order to avoid even greater damage and casualties. Ning Cheng on hearing this sneered. He had not come to the Yixing mainland for a day or two. With the 2 true countries going to war, even if the 2 great true countries were completely destroyed, there would not be any academies that would be kind enough to mediate. It was even more impossible for them to say such words. He knew the cultivators in this place too well. For this middle-aged cultivator to speak such words, it showed that there was definitely something good in this war, or at least something that was worthy for the academies to send out. In order to avoid causing even greater disputes, the major academies have agreed that only cultivators below the soul essence realm can go. In fact, even if a cultivator with a high cultivation goes, it would not be of any use. When the time comes you will come to understand. The middle-aged cultivator's eyes swept over the 100 newly promoted inner sect disciples. Before he continued, our Rainbow Fall Sword sect will send a total of 4 true inheriting disciples, and 4 core disciples. But each disciple will have to bring along 1 or 2 profound congealing disciples. These profound congealing disciples must have formidable strength, and also have a flexible mind. Speaking till here, not only Ning Cheng, but even the other newly selected inner sect disciples also understood what was going on. Some of the disciples who were selected because of their powerful spiritual roots, but their strength was a bit weaker, they already knew that this matter had nothing to do with them. 8 true inheriting disciples and core disciples going out, at most they would only be able to take along 16 people. Seeing that the atmosphere was somewhat depressing, this middle-aged cultivator raised his voice and spoke, "All the inner sect disciples that are selected and taken away, will have a 1-month opportunity to enter the Academy's small spiritual domain to cultivate. This represents the importance that the Academy attaches to you." Chapter 267. Ning Cheng sighed, sure enough. Although he had won every match, who among the top 30 had ever lost? From the looks of it, if these true disciples or core disciples were to choose a quota, they would definitely not pick him. All the true disciples and core disciples have seen your performance on the stage. The inner disciples who are selected will stay behind. Those who are not selected will go directly to the Inner Disciple Affairs Hall to receive their own cave abode and go through the relevant procedures. After the middle-aged cultivator finished speaking, he stood to the side, obviously waiting for the legacy disciples and core disciples to choose their spots. Senior Apprentice Brother K, you are my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's eldest senior apprentice brother, you should go first. The several young men and women spoke in unison. Many thanks to all the junior brothers and junior sisters, in that case, I will go first. A young male cultivator who was less than 30 years old walked out with a smile on his face. What a handsome guy. This guy could totally become a Hua Dan. Ning Cheng couldn't help but praise this senior apprentice Brother K from the bottom of his heart. He was wearing a dark blue robe, and had a black embroidered belt with a coiling dragon pattern on his waist, both of which were spiritual artifacts. He was tall and slender, and he looked cultured and refined. Just this outfit alone could sell for a lot of spirit stones. Thinking of spirit stones, Ning Cheng was even more eager to go to the small spiritual domain to fill up his core lake. Only when his core lake was filled to the brim, would he have a chance to advance to the profound core realm. The handsome-looking male cultivator came out and cupped his fists, looking very polite. Fellow junior apprentice brothers and junior apprentice sisters, I am the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's true inheriting disciple K Hung Shui. Everyone can just call me Senior Apprentice Brother Quebec. In my heart, there is no such thing as a true inheriting, core, inner sect or outer sect disciple. As long as I enter the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, we will all be fellow apprentice brothers and sisters. We should help each other to improve our own cultivation so that we can gain face for ourselves and show our sect's might. K Hung Shui's eloquence was quite good. As soon as the conversation ended, it immediately made all the people feel that this eldest senior apprentice brother was truly a good person, while at the same time they also had a lot of recognition towards the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. Because of the war between the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country, our sect is also tasked to mediate. I don't dare to say that this mission is to mediate the war between the two countries. In fact, we don't have the qualifications to mediate. This time, we have another matter to attend to. The disciples who were selected to go to the small spiritual domain would be able to obtain many more opportunities than staying in the small spiritual domain to cultivate, but at the same time, there was also the danger of dying. If they were not willing to go, then they could stand up and stay in the academy to cultivate. This is human nature. No one will blame you. K Hung Shui's words aroused everyone's favorable impression. That's more like it. He said that he was going to mediate the war between the two countries, but he said that he was bemoaning the heavens. Who was he lying to? Who would go if there were no benefits? I will choose a disciple, Feng Zhen from the 13th battle platform. K Hung Shui then reported the inner sect disciple he wanted to choose. A male cultivator standing next to Ning Cheng on hearing K Hung Shui's words, quickly stood up and spoke with excitement. Feng Zhen, many thanks for eldest senior apprentice brother's kindness, greets the senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice sisters. K Hung Shui gave a slight smile and spoke, Feng Zhen, you can just stand by my side, I will arrange something for you in a while. Yes, senior brother Quebec, Fengzhen excitedly walked out of the crowd and stood behind Kei Hengshui with many envious gazes. Junior sister Xian, I've already made my choice. You can choose now. As Kei Hengshui finished, he took the initiative to move to the side. Ning Qing saw a female cultivator wearing a lavender robe nod her head, as she slowly walked out. Ning Qing could even hear the exclamations of the many cultivators around him. He knew that they were all marveling at the beauty of this purple-robed female cultivator. This junior sister Xian was indeed beautiful, and was not the least bit inferior to Yan Ji and Nalan Rishue. Moreover, in terms of noble temperament, this junior sister Xian was even a notch above Yan Ji and Nalan Rishue. Her eyes were like a pool of clear water, coupled with that picturesque face, it could simply be described as flawless. Her clothes and bun were not used to set off her beautiful face, rather it was her beautiful face that set off her casual bun and clothes. For a woman to look like this, if placed in the future, there was simply no need for her to put on makeup or perform anything, just by standing there, she would be able to attract the attention of countless people. Ning Cheng had already seen countless beautiful women since he came to the Yixing mainland, and was no longer the pig brother that he was when he first came here. He knew that in this place, if a woman wanted to be beautiful, then she simply did not need to use a scalpel. There were a lot of spiritual grasses, pills, and even cultivation methods, which could give a woman an unparalleled temperament. With this kind of temperament, over a long period of time, it would slowly remove some of the small flaws, allowing the woman to become even more beautiful. Elder sister Lan Shu had said that she had a kind of cultivation method that she could pass on to his fiancée, Luofei. Ning Qing thought until here, and suddenly thought of his fiancée, Ji Luofei. In the future, when Luofei's appearance was restored, presumably, she would not be any worse than this junior sister Xian, Yan Ji, Nalan Rishue, and the others. Besides, even if it was a little worse, so what? He was not looking for a wife to look for a vase. Seeing Ning Cheng's mind wander, Sun Hanrui who was standing on the side suddenly wanted to laugh. All the people were paying attention to who the true inheriting and core disciples would choose, only this Ning Cheng seemed to be thinking about something else. When she had first met Ning Cheng, she felt that Ning Cheng was somewhat different. If he was like an ordinary cultivator, which profound congealing cultivator would dare to casually stop a soul essence cultivator like her on the street to ask for help? Moreover, there was not even a little bit of fear or a sense of respect. Which profound congealing cultivator would dare to tell a soul essence cultivator to fuck off? She guessed that only a person with thick nerves would dare to do such a thing. This Ning Cheng's strength was actually quite good, but what he learnt was just too ordinary. He was able to rush into the top 30, not only because of luck, but also because of his deep foundation. Looking at his fights, one could tell that he went all out in every match, and finally won his opponent by relying on his deep foundation. The purple-robed woman also had a smile on her face, as her eyes swept over all the profound congealing cultivators, and then she also saw Ning Cheng's mind wander. All the disciples here were nervously looking at her, it was estimated that only this person was thinking about something else. However, the purple-robed woman quickly took back her gaze and spoke, "Fellow junior apprentice brothers and sisters, I am called Luo Xian, and am also a true inheriting disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. As for the rest of the words, Deacon Hong and senior apprentice brother K have already spoken, so I will not say anything more. This time, I will only choose an inner sect disciple, and I have chosen Che Yen from the 6th battle platform." A brown-robed cultivator on hearing Luo Xian choose his name, was so excited that he almost shivered, as he quickly came out and gave a bow to express his gratitude, before carefully standing behind Luo Xian. Ning Qing recovered, and was also secretly admiring her. While he was fighting, he was also paying attention to the situation on the other battle platforms. Whether it was Kei Hengshui's choice of Feng Zhen, or Luo Xian's choice of Che Yen, he thought that both of them were quite powerful. After Luo Xian made her choice and retreated, the third person to come out was a young man who looked very cold and detached. Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's true inheriting disciple Hu Hong has chosen Yu Tingmeng. This man spoke in the same manner as his expression, cold and concise. Ning Cheng could already see that the disciples chosen were also from the true inheriting disciples to the core disciples, with their cultivation starting from the highest to the lowest. The first to be chosen were Ke Hung Shui and Luo Zian, both of whom were cultivators at the Great Circle of the Soul Essence realm, while this Hu Hong was a Soul Essence 6th level cultivator. Then the true inheriting disciples was Xiangsu, the core disciples Wen Han and Fu Huahui all came out and chose an inner sect disciple with the cultivation of profound congealing realm. It could be estimated that because the true inheriting disciples had only chosen an inner sect disciple, as such when the core disciples chose, they also only chose one person. Ning Qing unexpectedly did not choose anyone, but what made Ning Qing surprised was that Liang Kersen was also not chosen. In his opinion, Liang Kersen's performance was absolutely outstanding. Although he didn't dare to say that she was the best, she could still be in the top 5. Just as Ning Cheng had guessed, the 7th one to come forward was the core disciple Sun Hanrui. She first smiled towards Ning Cheng, before cupping her fists and spoke. Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's core disciple Sun Hanrui chooses Liang Kersen from the 17th battle stage. Many thanks Senior Apprentice Sister Sun. Liang Kersen, on hearing that Sun Hanrui had chosen her, immediately came forward and thanked her in a pleasant surprise. In contrast, she wanted to go back to the great Liang True country to have a look. Not to mention, wasn't there also a month's opportunity to cultivate in the small spiritual domain? I've already made my choice, Junior Apprentice Sister Xingnan, it's your turn. Sun Hanrui gave a faint smile to Fu Xingnan at her side, as she pulled Liang Kersen to the side. Sun Hanrui's attitude towards Liang Kersen immediately aroused some puzzled gazes. Although there were many inner sect disciples who were chosen by true disciples or core disciples, there was still a hierarchy among them. Most of the chosen inner disciples stood behind the true inheritors and core disciples. For Sun Hanrui to hold Liang Kersen's hand like this was the first time. Fu Xingnan came out, and glanced at the many longing gazes that were looking at her, before her gaze finally fell on Ning Cheng. I choose Ning Cheng, the first in the 9th battle stage. Hearing Fu Xingnan's voice, Liang Kersen and Ning Cheng's heart sank at the same time, even Sun Hanrui frowned. Sun Hanrui had previously suspected that Fu Xingnan and Wen Han's whispering had something to do with Ning Cheng, but now that Fu Xingnan had chosen Ning Cheng, she was sure that Fu Xingnan did not choose Ning Cheng out of kindness, but rather had a murderous intent towards Ning Cheng. She sighed in her heart. Junior Apprentice Sister Xingnan was really too paranoid. She felt that Ning Cheng and Fu Xiaomei becoming friends did not have any other intentions. It should be Fu Xingnan who was overthinking things. While the rest of the soul essence cultivation disciples were looking at Fu Xingnan in puzzlement, Fu Xingnan was a core disciple, as such her vision should not be so bad. Although Ning Cheng had won every match on the 9th battle stage, but as for the specific situation, everyone could see it with their own eyes. At best, one could only say that he was a mediocre inner sect disciple. Moreover, Fu Xingnan was from the Fu clan, so it was reasonable to say that her vision should not be so bad, right? Ning Cheng, on hearing that Fu Xingnan had chosen him, how could he not know that the opposite party wanted to make a move against him? Sure enough, it was this cheap woman. Ning Cheng was secretly angry in his heart, but at the same time he was also helpless. Without the rank 6 soul essence puppet, he was now 100% sure that he was not a match against Fu Xingnan. Chapter 268. Many thanks to this senior sister for choosing me. It's just that although I obtained first place on the 9th stage, the price I paid was not small. Not only was his body riddled with wounds, but he was also weak and exhausted. The thing that I want to do the most right now is not to go to the Great Liang True Country or the Northern Shang True Country, but rather to find a place to sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to step forward and take the initiative to reject this errand. His tone was full of energy. Where was the slightest bit of exhaustion? Why would he go over to such a risky thing? Being together with a soul essence cultivator who held a grudge against him, unless he was crazy. All the cultivators in the hall stared at Ning Cheng in confusion. Where did such a bold cultivator come from? Although big senior brother K. Hongshui said that he could choose not to go, but that was just him being polite. Besides, a core disciple choosing an inner disciple to follow should be a huge favor. How could he refuse? Fu Xingnan's eyes were filled with anger, but she had no choice but to suppress her anger and spoke in a light voice. I can see that your whole body is surging with true essence, and even your words are full of energy, without even half a shred of injury. Do you not want to give me any face? Besides, even if you have some minor injuries, I will help you heal them. We cultivators hate to be lazy. Sleep for 3 days. You can even think of that. It's not a good thing for a lazy disciple like you to join my sect. At this time, most of the people could hear that Ning Cheng and Fu Xingnan might have some contradictions. Some of the newly joined inner sect disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect were praising Ning Cheng's boldness, but at the same time, they were also worried about Ning Cheng, while at the same time, there were also some people who rejoiced in his misfortune. An inner sect disciple who had just joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect is already acting so arrogant, lawless, and out of control. This kind of disciple is really not worth it. Just as Fu Xingnan's voice fell, another angry voice once again berated her. Ning Cheng was able to recognize the male cultivator who was helping him. It was the same young male cultivator who was with Sun Hanrui that day. Ning Cheng cupped his fists in fear and spoke, "May I ask which elder is this?" Prick up your ears and listen carefully. I am Rainbow Fall Sword sect's core disciple Wen Han. The male cultivator spoke out in disdain. Ning Cheng recalled the words spoken by Wu Zhuo on the battle platform, and immediately understood that this Wen Han was the one who had teamed up with Fu Xingnan to plot against him. Ning Cheng put down his cupped fists, and said with a sneer, "So you are not an elder? Ah, it really scared me. Hearing your arrogant tone, I thought you were an elder, but in the end, you're just a disciple." I really did not think that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's core disciples would have such great power, to be able to casually expel an inner sect disciple. Formidable, truly formidable. If you were an elder, wouldn't it mean that those who submitted to me would prosper and those who opposed me would perish? Saying that, Ning Cheng cupped his fists towards the middle-aged cultivator and spoke, "Deacon Hong, I have just become an inner sect disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. As such, there are many rules that I do not understand. May I ask, Deacon Hong, does this plague have the authority to expel an inner disciple like me?" Deacon Hong was suddenly at a loss for words. If Wen Han wanted to secretly take away an inner sect disciple like Ning Cheng, then it would really be a small matter. However, he definitely didn't have the authority to fire him so blatantly. You. How could Wen Han bear Ning Cheng's ridicule, as his murderous aura suddenly overflowed in all directions? What about you? Just a moment ago, senior apprentice brother K had also clearly stated that going to the Great Liang True Country was completely voluntary. I'm just not feeling well. Can't I just not go? Everyone here was a disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Moreover, senior apprentice brother K had also said that no matter what kind of disciple it was, all of them were fellow apprentice brothers and sisters from the same sect, without any distinction of nobility or inferiority. I find you pleasing to the eye, so I call you junior martial brother. I find you unpleasant to the eye, so who do you think you are? Ning Cheng thought that he and this guy did not have any enmity between them, but this guy, in order to please a woman, had secretly harmed him, causing him to feel extremely uncomfortable in his heart. He did not believe that in this Rainbow Fall Sword sect, the opposite party could do anything to him. If worst comes to worst, he would just have to leave the Rainbow Fall Sword sect and not be an inner sect disciple anymore. Moreover, that eldest senior apprentice brother called K. Hongshui had said before that it was up to them to stay or leave. If this K. Hongshui remembered what he had said before, he would have taken the initiative to stand up. Ning Cheng's words, not to mention the inner sect disciples, even the true inheriting disciples and the core disciples looked at Ning Cheng in a daze. Where did this fellow come from, since he had already become an inner sect disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect? How could he be so reckless as to offend a core disciple? Deacon Hong, you take a look, this is the inner sect disciple that we have recruited this time, just like this. If they were not in a public place, Wen Han would have already killed Ning Cheng. Deacon Hong was also a bit embarrassed. although Ning Cheng's words were not pleasant to hear, but he did not say anything wrong. However, for an inner sect disciple to be this arrogant, it really was too much. Just as Deacon Hong was in a bit of a dilemma, Kei Hongshui suddenly stood up, and spoke in a light voice. What this junior apprentice brother Ning said is not wrong, whether he is physically ill or not, or does not want to go to the Great Liang True Country or the Northern Shang True Country, this is his freedom. Such being the case, then junior apprentice sister Xingnan can choose another disciple. Many thanks senior apprentice brother Quebec. Listening to these words, my illness suddenly became better, but I still do not want to take the risk. Ning Qing knew when to stop, as he cupped his fists towards Kei Hongshui and thanked him. Kei Hongshui looked at Ning Cheng and gave a meaningful smile, as he nodded and retreated. Wen Han's complexion was even more livid, but he was also helpless. Yes, eldest senior apprentice brother. Then I will choose Mao Hongqua. Fu Xingnan, on hearing Kei Hongshui address her as junior apprentice sister Xingnan, the anger in her heart had already disappeared without a trace. She did not even hear Ning Cheng's sarcasm, as her tone even contained a trace of shyness. At this time, how could she still remember who Ning Cheng was? Deacon Hong, seeing that the matter had been resolved, quickly stepped forward and spoke. The selected 8 inner sect disciples can stay behind. The rest of the new disciples will immediately follow me to the Hall of Affairs to receive their identity jade cards, as well as go through the formalities to settle into the immortal cave. Ning Cheng nodded towards Liang Kersen and Sun Hanrui. A moment ago Sun Hanrui wanted to stand up and speak up for him, but Kei Hongshui spoke up first. Moreover, the matter was resolved with just a few words from her eldest senior apprentice brother. As such, she did not come out to speak again. Senior apprentice sister Xian, this Ning Cheng's skills are ordinary, but his temper is not ordinary. A puny inner sect disciple unexpectedly dares to ridicule a core disciple. After Ning Cheng and the others walked out, Zhuo Xiangsu spoke to Luo Xian through sound transmission. Luo Xian pondered for a moment before replying that Ning Cheng should be a bit strange. An ordinary person should not have this kind of character. In most cases, a person's character will determine what kind of cultivation method he cultivates. This Ning Cheng's character is not a patient person, but he showed that he was patient in all aspects. This should be a bit strange. That's right, I understand. Luo Xian did not continue. Ning Cheng was patient in all aspects during the fight. Moreover, with the performance of Fu Xingnan and Wen Han, she already understood that Ning Cheng and these two people should have some kind of enmity between them. This Ning Cheng also knows when to advance and when to retreat. Moreover, he and the 2 core disciples had enmity between them. As such, he was not willing to stand out during the fight. However, Fu Xingnan and Wen Han had gone too far, which provoked Ning Cheng. After Luo Xian understood all of this, the corners of her mouth showed a trace of a smile. This was a profound congealing cultivator with quite a personality. With this kind of personality and this kind of low strength, wanting to mix well in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, it would be somewhat difficult. Where there were people, there would be rivers and lakes, and the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was no exception. Do not look at what Kei Hongshui said. In fact, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was also filled with many factions. Ning Cheng was just a little profound congealing cultivator without any roots, but the moment he came to the academy, he had already offended 2 core disciples. Moreover, even Deacon Hong did not have a good impression of him. It could be seen that his future would be somewhat difficult. Ning Cheng did not care about any of this. No matter how he lived in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, at least before Fu Xingnan and Wen Han came back, no one would come looking for trouble with him. If he went to the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country to make a fortune, he would not be able to return for at least half a year, right? He was afraid that Fu Xingnan and Wen Han would come looking for trouble with him, so while he was looking for an immortal cave, he chose a mountain peak where the inner sect disciples gathered, the sword-washing mountain peak. After receiving his identity jade card, along with some of the necessary items for an inner disciple and a few jade strips, Ning Cheng immediately returned to his immortal cave on the Washing Sword Mountain Peak. The Washing Sword Mountain Peak was the place where the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's inner sect disciples congregated the most. The spiritual qi in this place was very rich, and was even not inferior to some of the core disciples' mountain peaks. However, because there were many disciples cultivating here, the spiritual energy was evenly distributed. Ning Cheng's immortal cave was located at the top of the mountain, because the spiritual vein flowed from the foot of the mountain. In addition, there were all kinds of spirit gathering arrays from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain. Almost all the spirit qi was sucked away midway. However, Ning Cheng did not care about it, he was quite satisfied with his current immortal cave. Even if 90% of the spirit qi was sucked away midway, when it came to his place, the spirit qi was still incomparably rich. From this point, one could see that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was a grand academy. If he did not care about others, then Ning Cheng could arrange a huge spirit gathering array here, then his cultivation speed would not be slow at all. Not to mention that at the entrance of his immortal cave, there was also a spiritual qi lake. This spiritual qi lake must have been left behind by the previous generation, although one could not cultivate here, but with some spiritual grasses and spiritual bamboos planted on the lakeside, at least the environment was very relaxing. Ning Cheng had been drifting around since he came to the Yixing mainland. It was not until today that he finally had his own place to live. Ning Cheng secretly sighed. Until today, he finally had a place to live in the Yixing mainland. Although it was a high-rise building with many people living together, it was still much better than continuing to wander around. After releasing Grey Toot Toot, Ning Cheng began to arrange a variety of array formations around the place. At the same time, he was also waiting for Liang Kersen to come over. He believed that before Liang Kersen left the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, she would definitely come to find him. Sure enough, Ning Cheng had not even finished arranging the defensive array formations, when Liang Kersen and Sun Hanrui arrived at Ning Cheng's immortal cave. Regarding the arrival of Sun Hanrui, Ning Cheng really did not expect it. He had thought that at most it would be Liang Kersen. He did not expect that even Sun Hanrui would come together with him. Looking at the demeanor of Liang Kersen and Sun Hanrui, it seemed that the relationship between the two of them was already very good. Chapter 269. Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui, I did not expect that you would make a special trip to my place, please come in. Ning Cheng quickly ushered the two people into his immortal cave. Sun Hanrui's vision was very high, so when she saw the array formation arranged by Ning Cheng, she could not help but exclaim in admiration, Elder Brother Ning, I really did not think that you would also be an array formation expert, to actually be able to arrange an array formation of this level. Senior Sister Hanrui is overpraising me. In fact, he had only arranged a level 3 array formation, although these level 3 array formations were of a very high grade, but after all, they were only level 3 array formations. With his current ability, he could even set up a level 6 array formation. Congratulations, Junior Apprentice Sister Liang. This time, you and Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui will definitely have some gains. I don't know when Junior Apprentice Sister Liang and Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui will set off. After Ning Cheng greeted Sun Hanrui, he once again congratulated Liang Kersen. Liang Kersen said, this time I came to find you for something. Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui also specially came to find you for something. It's all thanks to Senior Sister Hanrui that I have a place to stay. If Senior Sister needs anything, just tell me. As long as it's within my power, I will do it. Ning Cheng knew that he had just arrived at the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, as such it was impossible for Sun Hanrui to have any important tasks for him to do. Therefore, he was confident in his words. Sun Hanrui gave a sweet smile, I really do have something that I need your help with. Ning Cheng was shocked, it couldn't be. Sun Hanrui was a soul essence cultivator, while he was just a profound congealing cultivator. How could he help the other party? Seeing Ning Cheng's slightly dazed appearance, Sun Hanrui gave a rare smile and spoke, you don't have to worry, even if you can't do it, I will not expel you. Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui must be joking. Ning Cheng spoke out in an awkward manner. He had used these words to ridicule Wen Han not too long ago. One had to know that Sun Hanrui and Wen Han were both core disciples. Sun Hanrui stopped smiling, and spoke in a stern voice, Elder Brother Ning, Kersen and I talked a lot about you. I also know that you must be an extraordinary person. I'm younger than you, so you can just call me junior sister from now on. Ning Qing did not speak. Did they talk a lot about himself? Even Liang Kursen didn't know much about him, right? Sun Hanrui did not care about Ning Cheng's expression, and continued, I know that you have a few mirage stones, but I want a mirage stone with at least 7 colors. I know that the price of mirage stones above 7 colors is extremely high, but I might not be able to afford this price, moreover I should not have opened my mouth. Ning Qing saw Sun Hanrui's hesitant appearance, and knew that Liang Kursen must have told her part of the matter. Although Ning Qing did not understand why Liang Kursen would reveal these things, but since the other party already knew that he had a mirage stone, then he must consider whether to give it to her or not, and not consider whether he had it or not. But why would Liang Kursen reveal his affairs to Sun Hanrui? It was reasonable to say that Liang Kursen's relationship with him should be stronger. Ning Qing glanced at Liang Kursen and found that Liang Kursen still had a smile on her face. Seeing until here, Ning Qing did not wait for Sun Hanrui to finish her words, and without any hesitation took out an 8-colored mirage stone and handed it to Sun Hanrui, junior apprentice sister Hanrui. What are you talking about? It is just a small mirage stone, why would you ask for a price? This is an 8-colored mirage stone, just take it. At this moment, Ning Qing understood that he should have taken out the mirage stone. With the relationship between him and Liang Kursen, it was impossible for Liang Kursen to harm him. She must have felt that he should have given it to her, and that was why she told this matter to Sun Hanrui. Besides, with Sun Hanrui's temperament, she absolutely would not take advantage of him for no reason, as such she would definitely have something in return. In case he guessed wrong, then he would have to lose a mirage stone. It also made it clear to him that Liang Kursen was not someone he could make friends with, as such this mirage stone could be considered as a favor to Sun Hanrui. 8-colored mirage stone. Sun Hanrui received the incomparably white mirage stone, as her voice trembled a little. She could not believe that she would be able to obtain an 8-colored mirage stone so easily. If it is not enough for junior apprentice sister Hanrui, then feel free to say it. Although he knew that Sun Hanrui would not ask for another mirage stone, Ning Qing still spoke out in a generous manner. To be honest, he had a lot of mirage stones, as such an 8-colored mirage stone was not something that he would put in his eyes. Many thanks elder brother Ning. Sun Hanrui carefully put away the mirage stone, as she spoke to Ning Qing in a very polite manner. Saying that she did not wait for Ning Qing to answer, as she took the initiative to take out 2 jade cards and handed them to Ning Qing and spoke, Elder brother Ning, your cultivation is slightly low, these are the cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain, I only have 2 of them, I will give them to you. This jade card can allow you to cultivate for a month, and these 2 jade cards have 2 months of cultivation time. When Ning Qing heard this, he completely understood the meaning of Liang Kursen's words. Liang Kursen knew that he had come here for the small spiritual domain, and also knew that Sun Hanrui had the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain, as such she took the initiative to tell Sun Hanrui that he had a mirage stone. Then let Sun Hanrui exchange it with him. Although in the eyes of many people, the value of the mirage stone was much higher, but in Ning Cheng's eyes, the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain was the most important. Many thanks junior apprentice sister Hanrui, then I will not be polite. Ning Qing unceremoniously put away the jade card, this was exactly the thing that he needed, if Sun Hanrui still had it, then he would not mind exchanging it for the mirage stones. Elder brother Ning, I know that these 2 jade cards are far inferior to the value of the mirage stones, so when I come back, I will definitely make up for the lack of it. Sun Hanrui did not like to take advantage of people, not to mention that she could not help Ning Qing in any way. Ning Qing quickly waved his hands and spoke, for me, this is more than enough, I just want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate. There's no need to make it up. I still have to thank junior sister Hanrui. Then Ning Qing turned to Liang Kursen and spoke, many thanks to junior apprentice sister Kursen for knowing that I wanted this thing. Liang Kursen gave a chuckle, and at the same time took out a jade card and handed it to Ning Qing and said, I have another one here, I will also give it to you. Although Ning Cheng liked the cultivation jade card of the small spiritual domain, but he was not a person without principles, as he quickly stopped her. Many thanks, junior apprentice Sister Kurson, but I cannot take your jade card. You and I are the same, both of us came to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for the small spiritual domain. I also need a jade card, so how can I take your jade card? Liang Kurson still put the jade card into Ning Cheng's hands. Big brother Ning, initially I had obtained a lot of benefits from you, but did not have any benefits to give to you. Because of this I have always felt indebted to you in my heart. This time I obtained a jade card, but I do not have the time to cultivate. Tomorrow I will be leaving the Rainbow Fall Sword sect with senior apprentice Sister Hanrui, so it would only be a waste in my hands. You can come back to cultivate. You will always have to come back. Ning Cheng asked in a puzzled manner. Liang Kurson did not care about it and spoke, the rewards for going out this time are very heavy. When I come back, I will still be rewarded with the cultivation jade card of the small spiritual domain. Therefore, when I come back, I can still enter the small spiritual domain to cultivate. You do not have to worry about it, you have already offended 2 core disciples, as such you have to speed up your cultivation. Hearing Liang Kurson speak in such a manner, Ning Cheng also did not remain polite. He put away the jade card and stood up once again to thank her. Many thanks, junior apprentice Sister Kurson. In the future, if I can get my hands on this cultivation jade card, I will definitely return it to junior apprentice Sister Kurson in double. Then I will thank you in advance. Liang Kurson spoke with a smile, when she suddenly saw Grey Toot Toot running towards them from the outside. Hey, you are also raising a pet beast? It is a puppy that only knows how to eat, called Grey Toot Toot. Ning Cheng spoke without much care. Sun Hanrui carefully stared at Grey Toot Toot and spoke after a good while. I feel that this pet beast of yours is somewhat unusual, but I can't see it. Ning Cheng couldn't help but think in his heart, how could it be ordinary? His own pet beast did not even have a rank, yet it had a storage ring, and even had a variety of spirit pills all day long. Elder brother Ning, many thanks, junior apprentice Sister Kurson and I will be leaving. You live here by yourself, so be careful. Sun Hanrui and Ning Cheng exchanged a few words, before standing up. Her last sentence was to remind Ning Cheng to pay attention to Wen Han's people, but Wen Han and Fu Xingnan were her friends, as such she could not say too much. Ning Cheng only stayed in his residence for 3 days, before he took the 3 jade cards to the Academy's small spiritual domain's entrance to cultivate. At this time, the more than 20 people who had gone to the Great Liang True Country for a mission had already left. Ning Cheng certainly would not continue to wait. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect was at least a good place. Ning Cheng also did not want to continue running around. Once his cultivation improved, then that Fu Xingnan would not be anything to him. You want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate? Take out your disciple identity card. An old man at the entrance to the small spiritual domain stared at Ning Cheng in doubt. Ning Cheng only had the cultivation of profound congealing realm. Under normal circumstances, a cultivator with the cultivation of profound congealing realm would not have any backing in the academy, as such it would be very difficult for them to obtain a quota to cultivate in the small spiritual domain. Ning Cheng did not dare to offend the old man guarding the entrance to the small spiritual domain, as such he quickly took out his identity card and handed it to the old man. As he bowed and cupped his fists and spoke, "This is my disciple identity card, I want to go in and cultivate for 3 months. You have only joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for 3 days, and yet you want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate for 3 months? The old man was speechless as he looked at Ning Cheng. This disciple certainly did not know that cultivating in the small spiritual domain required a jade card, and thought that as long as he joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, he would be able to enter the small spiritual domain to cultivate. He even thought that as long as he wanted to cultivate, he would be able to cultivate. Ha! Several cultivators at the entrance to the small spiritual domain laughed. It was obvious that they were thinking the same thing as the old man. Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart. Could it be that entering the small spiritual domain to cultivate also had a restriction on the length of time one had to join the academy? But Sun Hanrui did not say anything about it. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng quickly took out his 3 jade cards and handed them to the old man and spoke, "Sir Deacon, I have 3 cultivation jade cards here. do you really have cultivation jade cards? This old deacon thought that Ning Qing did not understand the rules, as such he made a joke out of himself, but he did not expect that Ning Qing not only had jade cards, but even took out 3 of them at once. Even the several cultivators who were laughing a moment ago also stopped their laughter. A profound congealing cultivator actually took out 3 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain. Just what kind of rhythm was this? A profound core 8th level cultivator who was staring at the jade cards in Ning Cheng's hands withdrew his fiery hot gaze, as he rolled his eyes and squeezed forward, as he cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and spoke, "This junior apprentice brother looks very familiar. May I ask which peak you live on?" Chapter 270. Ning Cheng was only puzzled for a moment before he happily spoke up. "You are the old Wang who lives next door to Han Wen's immortal cave. Ha, I really did not expect to see you here. I just heard you say that I looked familiar, so I just remembered." The profound core cultivator on hearing the words old Wang next door felt very puzzled. Who was this old Wang next door to Han Wen? Did you forget me? Last time at the Heavenly Stars auction house, Han Wen took you with him. The 3 of us were in a booth. Ning Qing spoke in a very enthusiastic manner. The profound core cultivator was even more puzzled. He had participated in auctions but had never been to a booth. This fellow must have mistaken him for someone else. Thinking of this, the profound core cultivator also laughed. "Of course I did not forget. I knew that it was you. Didn't I just come up to say hello? Haha. Old Wang really is you. You must have recognized me as Han Wen's friend Duan Yu. Every time Han Wen goes to the auction he would always ask me to borrow spirit stones. You have not seen him recently. He must have entered the small spiritual domain to cultivate. I obtained 5 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain, and he borrowed one of them." Ning Cheng was just like a chatterbox, talking non-stop. Out of the 5 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain, how could Han Wen casually borrow one of them? This fellow even lent out spirit stones to others every time. He was definitely a rich lord. The more the profound core cultivator thought about it, the more excited he became. He did not think that Ning Cheng was lying. If he wanted to lie, then wouldn't he need to take out 3 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain? No wonder I have not seen Han Wen for a long time. It turns out that he entered the small spiritual domain to cultivate. The profound core cultivator spoke, as he worded the words to ask Ning Cheng to borrow a jade card. Originally he wanted to stop Ning Cheng from exchanging the cultivation jade cards for jade talismans, but since Ning Cheng still had one on him, then he did not need to be too obvious. "Old Wang, I also have to enter the small spiritual domain to cultivate. It will take me a few months before I can come out. Do you still lack spirit stones? Last time at the Heavenly Stars auction you asked me to borrow 100,000 spirit stones, although this fellow Han Wen is a good friend, but he is a bit too stingy. He also asked me if you have returned the spirit stones to me. He does not know how many spirit stones he owes me. 100,000 spirit stones for me is really nothing." Ning Qing spoke in a long-winded manner while waving his hands in an exaggerated manner. "How much does Han Wen owe you?" The profound core cultivator rubbed his hands together. He felt that Ning Cheng was a good friend that he had to make friends with, and even took the initiative to ask others if they were lacking in spirit stones. According to what he said, he had only met him once. Among his friends, there was no one who did not take 100,000 spirit stones lightly. Ning Qing did not care about it and spoke up, "It's just a few million spirit stones, I don't care about it." However, Han Wen was a good friend. Every time he asked me to borrow spirit stones, he would quickly return them. He also said that it wouldn't be difficult to borrow them again. Really, is it necessary to be like this between friends? By the way, I also have a cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. Why don't you come in together with me? Take it, this is the jade talisman for you to cultivate for the next 3 months. After the jade talisman dissolves into ashes, you will automatically be sent out. The old man guarding the entrance of the small spiritual domain really could not stand it anymore, as he took the initiative to call out to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng quickly stepped forward and picked up the jade talisman. "Thank you, senior, you are too efficient. I should show my respect for you with some spirit stones." Ning Qing put his hand into his storage ring, when he suddenly patted his head and spoke, "My memory, I actually put the storage ring with the spirit stones in it in the immortal cave. It looks like I have to go back and get it back. Young man, hurry up and go back to cultivate. I do not lack your spirit stones." The old man shook his head. "How can that be? Spirit stones are simply nothing to me." Ning Qing spoke without hesitation, as he subconsciously looked at the profound core 8th level cultivator. The profound core 8th level cultivator casually took out a storage bag and threw it to Ning Qing before speaking, "Elder brother Hu, this is the 100,000 spirit stones that I borrowed from you last time, you can take it. Originally I wanted to look for Han Wen to take me to your place, but I have not seen Han Wen. I did not expect to meet you here. I think that what Han Wen said is right, it would not be difficult to borrow again." The rest of the cultivators on the side couldn't help but stare blankly. They did not think that their companion would have such a rich friend. "That's right, I also agree with this sentence." Ning Qing put away the storage bag, and even forgot about the reward he had given to the deacon. "That's right, Han Wen is cultivating in the small spiritual domain. I really want to go in and see him. I do not have any extra cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain. Do you have any? Can you lend one to me?" This profound core cultivator, on seeing Ning Qing put away the storage bag, immediately spoke up. "It's just a small matter, it's just a cultivation jade card, I'll give it to you." Ning Cheng's words almost made this profound core cultivator shed tears of excitement. Only Ning Cheng's hand was placed on top of the ring, when he suddenly frowned, as he patted the back of his hand and spoke, "Look at my memory, my jade card was placed together with the spirit stones, but I forgot to bring it with me. It doesn't matter, wait for 3 months, I'll lend it to you again. I'll go back to cultivate first, see you old Wang Ah." As Ning Qing spoke, he did not wait for this profound core cultivator to continue speaking, as he directly stepped into the transfer gate, and the next moment disappeared. Wait. This profound core cultivator, on seeing Ning Qing leave, hastily rushed up to stop Ning Qing. Unfortunately, he did not have the transfer jade talisman, and was directly ejected from the transfer gate. "Ha, Han Wen's neighbor old Wang, will be leaving first ah." The several cultivators together with this profound core cultivator laughed. This profound core 8th level cultivator's face turned green and red, as a murderous intent immediately rose in his heart. Unexpectedly daring to take advantage of him, regardless of whether what this person said was true or false, once he came out, he would definitely not let him off. Although he could not fight here, but there was always a place where he could fight. Of course, he did not know that if he could fight here, then Ning Qing would have already smashed him to pieces. Why would he only take away 100,000 spirit stones? Ning Qing really did not put a profound core cultivator in his eyes. After he entered the transfer gate, he was immediately swept away by a powerful force. After he fell down, he appeared in the middle of a vast white mist. Is this the small spiritual domain? Is this mist the spiritual qi? Ning Qing muttered to himself, but then he knew that his thoughts were wrong. The spiritual qi in this place was very ordinary, it was even inferior to his immortal cave. Moreover, the mist in this place was also not spiritual qi, it only made it so that he could not extend his spiritual consciousness out. Ning Qing did not believe that the famous small spiritual domain turned out to be such a place. He immediately left the place, and was ready to look for a place rich in spiritual qi to cultivate. But after half a day, Ning Qing finally stopped, as he felt very disappointed in his heart. This place was not as good as its reputation. All the places in this place were lacking in spiritual qi. In addition to the mist that hindered the extension of one's spiritual consciousness, he really could not find a place rich in spiritual qi to cultivate in. It should not be like this. If the small spiritual domain was just unworthy of its name, then it absolutely would not have such a big reputation. If he had known about it earlier, then it would have been better to ask Sun Hanrui. It would have been better than running around like a headless fly. 3 months of cultivation time was extremely precious, yet he had simply wasted half a day of it. Ning Qing searched for nearly an hour, and finally sat down on a blue stone with a slightly more prominent spiritual qi. He was ready to cultivate in this place for a few days. If it really did not work, then he would continue towards the depths of the small spiritual domain. When Ning Qing sat down, and began to operate the cultivation method to cultivate, an incomparably terrifying spiritual qi instantly filled Ning Cheng's meridians. Ning Cheng's entire body trembled. He finally understood what was going on. The spiritual qi in the small spiritual domain simply did not overflow. Only when one cultivated, would it take the initiative to pour in. Moreover, the more powerful the cultivation method, the more powerful the spiritual qi would be. This kind of spiritual qi was absolutely different from the spiritual qi from spirit stones. It would not turn into a spiritual qi mist, but rather directly penetrate into the body. Ning Cheng was ecstatic in his heart. He also found another place that was different. In addition to the absorption method of the spiritual qi and the spirit stones, the characteristics of the spiritual qi here were also completely different from the spirit stones. The characteristics of the spiritual qi here were definitely a grade higher than the spiritual qi from spirit stones. It even contained a vague law within it. Ning Qing absorbed a little bit of it, and his core lake immediately began to change. Ning Qing suppressed the surprise in his heart, as he crazily absorbed the spiritual qi for cultivation. He was well aware that when he used spirit stones to cultivate, even if he used more spirit stones, it would still be very difficult to increase the liquid true essence in his core lake. But in this place, it was actually so simple. As long as he operated the cultivation method to cultivate, his meridians would be repeatedly scoured by the spiritual qi, and then transformed into true essence, while at the same time the liquid true essence in his core lake would also constantly increase. In this way, he would not even need a month to fill up his core lake. Small spiritual domain, it really was a good place. Ning Qing sighed in his heart, while at the same time, he was also desperately absorbing the spiritual qi to fill up his core lake. As Ning Qing absorbed more and more spiritual qi, the liquid true essence in his core lake became more and more full. At this time Ning Qing became aware of another characteristic. That is, the spiritual qi here not only contained a vague law, but it also contained a kind of spiritual medicine aura that was hard to describe. This kind of spiritual medicine aura even gave Ning Qing a feeling, that is, when his core lake was filled to the brim, and his cultivation rushed to the great circle of profound congealing 9th level, he would not even need to use the profound life pill to advance to the profound core realm. If he reached the profound core realm, and continued to cultivate in this place, then even he himself was not sure where he would end up cultivating. It was no wonder that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had so many soul essence cultivators. With such a small spiritual domain, coupled with the higher qualifications of the cultivators, they were able to bring in some pills. If he could not advance to the soul essence realm, then he would truly be a pig. As long as he could feel the progress of his own cultivation, Ning Qing came to realize that the cultivation jade cards of the small spiritual domain were incomparably precious. Ning Qing was even more grateful to the two people, Sun Hanrui and Liang Kersen, in his heart. If not for their help, where would he have gone to obtain 3 months' worth of cultivation jade cards? Soon Ning Qing fell into a state of complete selflessness, as the inexhaustible spiritual qi of the small spiritual domain was crazily absorbed by Ning Qing, transforming it into liquid true essence, continuously filling up Ning Qing's core lake. Chapter 271. Ning Qing unscrupulously absorbed the spiritual qi, transforming it into true essence, and filling up his core lake. Although the speed at which Ning Qing absorbed the spiritual qi and the amount of it was terrifying to the extreme, but for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's small spiritual domain, this amount of spiritual qi was simply nothing. A month later, Ning Qing slowly sighed and opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with joy and satisfaction, a feeling that could not be experienced by cultivating with spirit stones. Although he was still at profound congealing 7th level, but his core lake had already been filled to the brim. Ning Qing was very clear in his heart, if he wanted to advance to the profound congealing 8th level, or even the profound congealing 9th level, then it would only take a breath of time. For him, there was no difference between the profound congealing 7th level and the profound congealing 9th level. The only difference was that after he advanced, his core lake would once again expand. Ning Qing stood up. The benefits of cultivating in this place made him not want to leave. But Ning Qing still felt that cultivating in the small spiritual domain was not as simple as he thought. He once again entered the depths of the small spiritual domain, and once again found a bluestone with a lighter color and sat down. Sure enough, Ning Qing felt that the effect of cultivation in this place was much better compared to the front. It seems that the deeper he went in, the more obvious the effect of cultivation would be. However, Ning Qing also knew that this kind of change was very small. It was because he was absorbing too much spiritual qi. If replaced by an ordinary cultivator, then perhaps they would not even be able to feel it. Ning Qing decided to cultivate in this place for the full 3 months before coming out. He arranged a simple defensive array formation around him, before continuing to cultivate. Kacha. As Ning Qing continued to cultivate, he simply did not need to attack the profound congealing 8th level, as that layer of cultivation barrier automatically broke apart, allowing him to smoothly advance to the profound congealing 8th level, causing his core lake to once again solidify and expand. From the looks of it, his previous guess was right. For him, the result would be the same regardless of whether he forcefully advanced or not. There might be a gap in strength, but this gap was definitely limited. The profound congealing 8th level core lake was soon filled to the brim, allowing Ning Qing to advance to the profound congealing 9th level without even half a moment of stagnation. After advancing to profound congealing 9th level, Ning Qing's core lake started to churn with true essence. The feeling of his formidable strength almost made Ning Qing think that he could kill a soul essence cultivator by himself. The core lake rumbled, and the enlarged and solidified core lake was once again filled to the brim. Ning Qing knew that whether or not he would be able to advance to the profound core realm would depend on this. If he was not able to advance to the profound core realm in this place, then the next time he wanted to advance to the profound core realm, it would be very difficult for him to find such a good place. As Ning Qing continued to absorb the spiritual qi, the liquid true essence in his core lake continued to strengthen. The true essence in his core lake and meridian started to tumble, giving Ning Qing a feeling of tearing and swelling pain. Some of the impurities in his body were squeezed out by the powerful true essence, causing Ning Qing's body to be washed away by this kind of true essence circulation. Ning Qing soon became aware that something was wrong, although he did not have a master, but he knew that in order to advance to the profound core realm, the core lake was in the process of tumbling, and would condense into a golden core suspended above the core lake. However, as his core lake continued to churn, it actually began to compress his true essence. As his true essence continued to decrease, it absorbed spiritual energy and transformed it into new true essence. As time passed by, Ning Qing felt even more strange. In this kind of situation, just how much spiritual qi would he need to absorb in order to form his golden core? These 3 months would pass in the blink of an eye. When he got out, what would he use to cultivate? Use spirit stones? That was a joke. Although he knew that there was something wrong with him, but Ning Qing did not dare to suddenly stop cultivating. At least until now, although his golden core had not formed, but his strength was still increasing, this was an unquestionable fact. As a few days passed by, the liquid true essence in Ning Qing's core lake was still constantly being compressed, and then compressed again. Then the absorbed spiritual qi was once again transformed into new true essence, without even the slightest change. In the end, Ning Qing simply did not care about it. He only cared about absorbing the spiritual qi for his cultivation. Why would he care about forming his golden core? As long as his strength continued to rise. The only pity was that 3 months of time was simply too short. He did not know how long he cultivated for, but on this day, the liquid true essence in Ning Qing's core lake suddenly stopped increasing. Ning Qing was still feeling puzzled, when the liquid true essence in his core lake, which had been condensed to the extreme, suddenly converged, and soon formed into a crazily rotating vortex. Forming his golden core, Ning Qing was ecstatic in his heart. He knew that this was the prelude to the formation of his golden core. He crazily absorbed the spiritual qi, while simultaneously operating his cultivation method to form his golden core. After a full 3 days, the vortex in Ning Qing's core lake suddenly disappeared, and a dragon eye-sized golden core was suspended above the core lake. This golden core contained a terrifying amount of true essence, which made Ning Qing believe that at this moment he could casually defeat a late-stage profound core cultivator. At the same time, an indescribable Dao charm aura surrounded the golden core, allowing Ning Qing to have a new understanding of his cultivation. Even the spear technique that he had comprehended in the Thunder Domain City had become a lot clearer. Although he did not understand why after forming his golden core, the liquid true essence still remained in his core lake, but Ning Qing still tried to control his golden core, and accelerate the consolidation of his cultivation. After the golden core was formed, it began to slowly circulate above the core lake. As Ning Qing continued to cultivate, the speed at which he absorbed the spiritual qi was once again a lot faster than before. In just a few days, Ning Qing was able to consolidate his golden core first-level cultivation. The vigorous true essence and formidable spiritual consciousness made Ning Qing unable to help but let out a long roar. This kind of strength was simply not something that could be described in words. Only by finding a soul essence cultivator to test it out, would he be able to find out the extent of his strength in the end. At this time, Ning Qing could not wait to immediately bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City from his Zifu to give it a try. With his current strength, even if he was unable to bring out the Blue Thunder City, he could at least bring out that kind of virtual shadow without any problems. However, Ning Qing resisted the impulse in his heart. He had been cultivating in the small spiritual domain for a long time, but was not aware that he was being monitored. However, this kind of thing was best to be careful. In case someone saw him, it would not be a good thing if his cultivation speed increased. But once he brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder City, it would definitely not be a good thing. Ning Qing had a hunch that the everlasting Blue Thunder City was not a simple magical weapon. I do not know how much time I have left. Ning Qing muttered to himself, as he looked down at the jade talisman on his wrist, but found that the jade talisman had already lost its color, and had turned a little gray. In just the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, a "catcha" sound emerged, as the jade talisman in Ning Qing's hand completely disintegrated into flying ash, while at the same time a kind of force wrapped around Ning Qing and sent him away. At the entrance of the small spiritual domain, it was still the same old man. When the old man saw Ning Qing come out, he gave a smile with great interest, but then shook his head. It was obvious that he had seen Ning Qing cultivate in the small spiritual domain for 3 months, and was only at the profound core first level, causing him to feel somewhat disappointed. If any of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's profound congealing 7th level cultivators were to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for 3 months, then they would definitely be able to reach more than the profound core 3rd level. Cultivating in the small spiritual domain for a month was equivalent to cultivating in the outside world for 10 years. This was not an exaggeration, but rather a fact. Ning Qing cleaned himself up, before he spoke to the old man with a smile. "I'm leaving, I'll come here often in the future." Saying that, Ning Qing did not wait for the old man to answer, and quickly left the entrance. Although the others were not very satisfied with his progress, but Ning Qing himself was very, very satisfied with it. When he said that he would come here often in the future, it was not just a casual remark. Now that he knew the effects of cultivating in the small spiritual domain, he was ready to do everything in his power to find the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. Therefore, after Ning Qing came out, he did not even return to his residence, and directly rushed to the assignments hall. He knew that in order to obtain the jade card for entering the small spiritual domain, he would have to complete the assignments. Moreover, he would have to complete the assignments that the Academy attached great importance to. Only by completing the assignments that the Academy attached great importance to, would one be able to obtain the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. Ning Qing had just left the small spiritual domain, when a profound congealing disciple standing guard outside the small spiritual domain sent out a message. "Good kid, you finally came out." A profound core 8th level cultivator who was still in the Rainbow Fall makeshift market looked at the communication pearl in his hands, and spoke out a few words. The next moment he had already left the makeshift market. This profound core cultivator was the same profound core cultivator who Ning Qing had cheated away 100,000 high-grade spirit stones 3 months ago. Because of this matter, he was not only ridiculed by a few of his fellow disciples, but it also caused him to be in a tight spot for his cultivation recently. Ha, elder brother Hu, it's been a long time. I heard that you came out of the small spiritual domain, and that your strength had greatly improved. Congratulations. Ah. Ning Cheng was still looking at the Academy's assignments on the array formation display in the main hall, when a very enthusiastic voice called out from behind Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng turned around and looked at the profound core cultivator, and asked in a puzzled voice, "Who are you? Did you just call out to me?" This profound core cultivator's heart sank. He was getting a bad feeling, but even if the feeling was not good, now that he had caught this person, he was not afraid. The profound core cultivator suppressed the anger in his heart, and reluctantly spoke up, "Junior apprentice brother Hu, I'm Han Wen's next-door neighbor, old Wang Ah. It's only been 3 months, don't you remember? 3 months ago I gave you 100,000 spirit stones, and you said that you wanted to lend me a cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. You are none other than the next-door neighbor old Wang Ah." Ning Cheng frowned, and thought for a while before speaking, "What next-door neighbor old Wang? I don't understand what you are talking about." "I'm sorry, you might have mistaken me for someone else." Ning Cheng shook his head, and turned around to leave. At this point, this profound core cultivator was sure that he had been deceived, as he sneered, and took a step in front of Ning Cheng, "Cheating this grandpa's spirit stones, do you really want to leave? You can dream on. You want to rob me?" Ning Cheng's entire body instantly overflowed with a murderous aura. In this short period of time, all the people in the assignment's main hall focused their gazes on Ning Cheng. They were all thinking, who would have such courage, to dare to release such a murderous aura in the assignment's main hall? That profound core cultivator, on seeing Ning Cheng's overflowing murderous aura, couldn't help but scream in his heart. Not waiting for him to speak, he heard a cold and stern voice descend, "What's going on?" Unexpectedly daring to release such a murderous aura in the assignment's main hall, who would have such courage? As this voice fell, a middle-aged soul-sculpting realm deacon appeared in front of Ning Cheng and that profound core 8th level cultivator. "Sir Deacon, this profound core senior apprentice brother, relying on his higher cultivation than me, tried to stop me and rob me of my spirit stones. I was not willing to give it to him, so he decided to use force. As an inner sect disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, even if his cultivation is higher than mine, I will not yield." Ning Cheng was the one who first complained. He certainly knew the importance of striking first. Chapter 272. Is that so? The soul-sculpting realm deacon's eyes flashed with a murderous intent, as he stared at this profound core 8th level cultivator in a stern manner. The profound core 8th level cultivator's complexion immediately turned pale, as he quickly bowed and spoke, "It's not like that, Sir Deacon. This junior brother is called Han Yu. Previously, he cheated me of 100,000 spirit stones. I stopped him because I wanted my spirit stones back. You dare to cheat your senior brother's spirit stones? His courage is not small. Ah." The soul-sculpting deacon felt that Ning Cheng was not being honest, but rather he believed in the words of this profound core 8th level cultivator. Ning Cheng stared at this profound core cultivator, and spoke in a calm and unhurried manner, "You are a profound core 8th level cultivator, you are not a child. How could I cheat you out of your spirit stones? Why don't you tell us how I swindle spirit stones? Yeah, tell me about it." The surrounding cultivators also started to make a ruckus. For them, they also wanted to know how Ning Cheng managed to swindle those spirit stones. The profound core 8th level cultivator quickly spoke up. "This person said 3 months ago that I owed him 100,000 spirit stones. I was confused for a moment, and ended up returning it to him. Only now did I remember that he was deceiving me." Ning Cheng simply did not bother to explain anything, and just spread out his hands, as he cupped his fists towards that soul-sculpting cultivator and spoke, "I have nothing to say, Sir Deacon can make your own judgment." Ha ha ha. As Ning Cheng spoke, a burst of laughter erupted from the surroundings. This reason was too ridiculous. The other party said that you owed him spirit stones and asked you to pay them back, so you paid them back? Treat everyone as fools. I'll have to find a better reason next time, that's right. At the very least, it's more reasonable to say that they owe you. The soul-sculpting cultivator coldly stared at this profound core 8th level cultivator, as he spoke in an icy tone. Go to the law enforcement hall to receive your punishment. The next time you offend me, I will drive you out of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Yes, Sir Deacon. This profound core cultivator did not dare to continue to argue about the 100,000 spirit stones, as he quickly bowed and accepted his punishment. That soul-sculpting cultivator turned his head towards Ning Cheng and spoke in a cold voice, you should also take care of yourself, next time you might not be so lucky. Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat, as he quickly cupped his fists and said, yes, many thanks Sir Deacon. He knew that the deacon had noticed that something was amiss and even suspected that he was behind it. It was just that a soul-sculpting cultivator was too lazy to investigate such a trivial matter, as such he gave him a warning before leaving. This cultivator was very happy to become friends with Ning Cheng, as he quickly replied, I am called Jin Liangan, my immortal cave is at the Clear Sword Peak. I live at the Washing Sword Peak, junior apprentice brother Jin is always welcome to visit. Right, is junior apprentice brother Jin also here to pick up a mission? Ning Cheng had been cultivating in the small spiritual domain for quite some time, as such he was able to find an acquaintance, and was willing to talk to him. Jin Liangan sighed and spoke, that's right, although being an inner sect disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect is much better than being a rogue cultivator, but you also need to look for some missions, otherwise, it would be too difficult to take a step forward. That's right, the last few times when the elders taught, senior apprentice brother Ning didn't seem to have attended. In fact, what those elders said was very good. I was also able to break through to the profound core realm in one fell swoop after listening to the elders' lectures. Ning Cheng only then came to know that there was such a thing as a lecture, as he quickly asked, I did not know do the inner sect disciples also have special lectures by the elders? Jin Liangan stared at Ning Cheng with wide eyes, no, you don't even know about this? Of course there is, if there were no elders to teach us, then wouldn't we be the same as rogue cultivators? Moreover, the Academy can also lend us cultivation method jade strips, as well as using the contribution points from the assignments to exchange for pills, jade strips, and even cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. This is also possible. How come I did not see it? This time it was Ning Cheng's turn to stare with wide eyes, he simply did not know about these rules. Jin Liangan patted his head and spoke, Senior apprentice brother Ning, you certainly did not look carefully at the jade strips given by the elders, the jade strips are clearly marked on the back. You see, in addition to some of the stated rewards for the assignments, there is also a contribution point. Ning Cheng finally understood the meaning behind each of the assignments, as it turned out to be the contribution points. Ning Cheng took out the 2 jade cards from his storage ring, only to find that one of the jade cards contained a detailed introduction, while the other jade card was blank, with the words contribution points written on it. Damn, Ning Cheng rubbed his hair, the reason he came to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was to cultivate in the small spiritual domain. After finding the immortal cave, he simply did not care about the rest of the jade cards, he thought that it was the Academy's most basic cultivation method. Later when Sun Hanrui and Liang Kursen came over, he obtained the jade card to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for 3 months, as such he was not in the mood to look at the Academy's low-leveled cultivation methods. But he did not think that these were not the Academy's cultivation methods, but rather the contribution point jade cards. I want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate, how many contribution points would it cost to cultivate for a month? Ning Cheng quickly asked. Jin Liangan shook his head and spoke, who doesn't want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate? Wanting to exchange contribution points for cultivation time is something that is very difficult. Only if you take on a very difficult assignment would you be able to exchange for it. Many of the difficult assignments are directly rewarded with a cultivation jade card, such as the 9th assignment, catching Lei Junfeng. It simply does not need to be exchanged with contribution points. If you had gone to the Great Liang True Country, then you would have been directly rewarded with a month's worth of cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. But fortunately you did not go. Ning Qing quickly asked again, you spoke about the 9th assignment. I have a question to ask you. That Lei Junfeng is a traitor to the academy. What exactly did he do? Is the reward for catching him so generous? A year's worth of cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. Just thinking about it is simply inconceivable. Isn't that so? Not to mention you, who would not covet this assignment. But the difficulty of this assignment is simply too high. Who knows where he is hiding? Moreover, this Lei Junfeng is incomparably powerful. When he was at the late stages of the soul essence realm, he was able to fight against early-stage soul sculpting cultivators without falling into a disadvantageous position. I heard that he has already advanced to the soul sculpting realm. With this kind of ability, without the cultivation of the sea opening realm, one should not even think about fighting against him. As Jin Liang'an spoke till here, he suddenly lowered his voice and spoke to Ning Cheng. Do you know what crime that Lei Junfeng committed? He raped the academy's deputy academy head Dan Wenyao's Dao companion, Bei Shelon. This kind of person is simply too daring. Jin Liang'an suddenly remembered that Ning Cheng was also a daring person. As such, he did not continue to speak, and instead gave an embarrassed smile. Ning Cheng was stunned for a moment. Wasn't this person too awesome? He even dared to forcefully sleep with the deputy academy head's wife. This assignment was indeed too difficult, not to mention that he did not know where Lei Junfeng was hiding. Even if he knew, what could he do to others? Junior apprentice brother Jean, you said that I was fortunate not to go to the great Liang True country. What was that all about? Ning Cheng suddenly remembered the last sentence that Jin Liang'an had spoken a moment ago. Jin Liang'an pursed his lips and spoke, just look at the 17th assignment. 3 months ago, the true inheriting disciples and the core disciples went to the battlefield of the great Liang True country and the northern Shang True country for this assignment. I did not expect that there would be a problem with this assignment. None of the disciples who went before came back, and there was no news at all. Later on, the 17th assignment was reissued, and another group of disciples went, but none of them came back, and there was no news at all. Now that the 17th assignment has been issued for the 3rd time, even if the rewards were more generous, who would dare to take up this assignment? Ning Cheng then saw that there were a few more notes below the 17th assignment, but the one that attracted Ning Cheng the most was actually to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for a year. Not only that, but the final reward for the contribution points was also 1,000,000 contribution points. My goodness, the rewards for this assignment were just too generous. At the same time, Ning Cheng also thought of Liang Kersen and Sun Hanrui. The two of them could be regarded as his friends, but they had gone missing while carrying out an academy assignment, so he was also very worried about them. Junior apprentice brother Jean, since so many disciples have not come back, then why did the academy's elders and senior experts not go? Why did they issue the assignment here? Ning Cheng was very puzzled. Jin Liang'an lowered his voice and spoke, why didn't they go? Many crucible transformation experts have gone there, but after the crucible transformation experts went there, there was no response, nor were they able to find any problems. Only cultivators below the soul essence realm would suddenly go missing. Moreover, it was not only the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, even the core disciples and true inheriting disciples of the other academies who went there also went missing. Chapter 273. I'll go ask around. Ning Cheng patted Jin Liang'an's shoulder, as he walked towards the academy's assignment hall. I want to ask. Ning Cheng had not even spoken a word, when he was interrupted by a female cultivator. Which assignment do you want to take? Just give me your identity jade card and the assignment number, there is no need for any nonsense. Ning Cheng helplessly spoke, I want to take the 17th assignment. When the impatient-looking female cultivator heard Ning Cheng's words, her hands trembled. She looked up in disbelief and repeated the sentence, you said that you want to take the 17th assignment? I asked you to explain, but you did not explain, so I had to take it directly. Ning Cheng spoke in a somewhat depressed manner. The female cultivator unexpectedly did not flare up, instead she frowned and spoke, so far, including our Rainbow Fall Sword sect, all the disciples with the cultivation of soul essence realm or below who took the 17th assignment, none of them have returned, nor is there any news about them. Are you sure you still want to take the 17th assignment? Ning Qing already knew about this. He just asked, I want to ask, if I do not complete the assignment, and come back halfway, will I be punished? No, this assignment is voluntary. The female cultivator replied without hesitation. Ning Qing, on hearing this affirmative answer, immediately spoke, good, then I will take the 17th assignment. At worst, if he discovered danger, then he would not go. In case he tried his luck, and found out something, the Academy's reward would be enough for him to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for more than a year. The female cultivator did not try to persuade Ning Qing again, as she nodded and spoke, this time there are some changes to the 17th assignment, there are also disciples from other academies, when you get there, the elders will tell you what to do. This is the assignment jade card and the map, as well as the description of the assignment. Take it, I wish you good luck. Ning Qing walked out of the assignment hall, and found Jin Liang'an discussing something with a few profound core cultivators. He guessed that they were planning to go out together with the assignment hall. Ning Qing and Jin Liang'an said their goodbyes, and immediately left the assignment hall. He did not even go back to his own place, as Ning Qing directly went to the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country's battlefield. He was still somewhat worried about the Liang Kursan duo. As for the reason for the war between the two true countries, the Jade Strip was very vague, but there was also a general idea. A few years ago, in the territory of the Great Liang True Country, at the border between the Northern Shang True Country and the Great Liang True Country, an ancient immortal's cave suddenly appeared. The Northern Shang True Country was the first to receive this information. As such, the number of disciples who took up this mission was also getting fewer and fewer. In order to find out the truth behind this mystery, it was necessary for some of the cultivators below the Soul Essence realm to participate in this mission. Only then would the Crucible Transformation cultivators be able to find some clues from the missing cultivators. Ning Qing put away the Jade Strip, as he had already guessed it in his heart. If he took up this mission, then he would have to take up the job of a cannon fodder, or perhaps he would have to take up the job of a guinea pig. Ning Qing was also aware of his own situation. He had already cultivated in the small spiritual domain. If he did not have the small spiritual domain in the future, then if he wanted to advance, it would be too difficult. In order to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for a year, he had to fight for it. Besides, he also had a magical weapon for escaping that others did not know about, that is, in the case of a last resort, he could crush the talisman given to him by the skeleton, allowing him to enter the bottom of the blood river. Ning Cheng's flight-type magical weapon was a medium-grade flight-type spiritual artifact. In order to arrive earlier, Ning Cheng not only activated the flight-type magical weapon at full speed, but also used the twin heavenly cloud wings. Even so, it was not until 10 days later that he finally arrived at the location marked on the map in the Jade Strip. In front of his eyes was an endless desolation. There were potholes everywhere, some broken weapons and fragments of low-leveled magical weapons were strewn all over the place. In many places, even the soil was somewhat dark red, apparently because it had been contaminated by too much blood. In the places that Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could reach, other than a dark gray-colored building, there was nothing else. According to the introduction on the Jade Strip, Ning Qing came to know that this dark gray-colored building was temporarily built by the major academies. If he wanted to take up this mission, then he would first have to go to this gray-colored building, and then listen to the instructions of the academy's elders. Ning Qing put away the flight-type magical weapon, and had just walked to the entrance of the building, when he was stopped by two cultivators. "Which academy are you from?" "My goodness, these two cultivators guarding the door were also in the soul sculpting realm. This junior is Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's inner sect disciple Ning Cheng. This time I specifically came here for this mission." Ning Cheng quickly cupped his fists and replied in a polite manner. The soul sculpting cultivator on the left nodded and spoke. "The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect is on the 3rd floor, the 5th room on the left." "Many thanks." Ning Cheng once again thanked them, as he sped up the stairs. Alas, a month ago there were groups of soul essence cultivators who came to take up this mission, but now what kind of people are there? even profound core first-level cultivators have come to take up this mission. Another soul-sculpting realm cultivator, seeing Ning Cheng walk away, shook his head and spoke with a sigh. The soul-sculpting cultivator who pointed out Ning Cheng's path spoke up in disapproval. Today there were at least 3 people who came, but in the past few days, I have not seen even one of them come to take up this mission. I guess that this place will soon be demolished. Moreover, with so many disciples disappearing, there is still no clue as to what to do. This is not something that we can manage. Although Ning Cheng had already gone upstairs, he could still hear the voices of the 2 soul-sculpting realm cultivators behind him. Come in. Ning Cheng had just arrived at the door of the 5th room on the left side of the 3rd floor, when a voice arrived in his ears. Such a powerful cultivation, this voice was as if it was coming from the opposite side, without even half a shred of distortion. Ning Cheng did not dare to hesitate, as he quickly pushed open the door and walked in. 5 male and female cultivators were sitting inside the room, while there were 2 young cultivators standing in the middle of the room. Although the aura of these 5 male and female cultivators was not overflowing, it still gave Ning Cheng a strong sense of oppression. Ning Cheng was simply unable to see the cultivation of these 5 people, but he immediately understood that these 5 people were definitely Crucible Transformation cultivators. Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's inner sect disciple Ning Cheng greets the 5 seniors. Knowing that he was facing 5 Crucible Transformation cultivators, Ning Cheng did not dare to neglect them, as he quickly bowed and greeted them. Not bad, although your cultivation is a bit low, but you are quite calm. An old man, on seeing Ning Cheng's calm appearance, nodded. A middle-aged Confucian scholar sitting on the right side also nodded in satisfaction towards Ning Cheng and spoke. Ning Cheng, I think you should be aware of the dangers of this mission. Even if you give up now, it would still be excusable. Up until now, none of the disciples who participated in this mission have returned. As such, the news that we obtained is also very little. This mission will soon be cancelled, and will be replaced by another way to track it down. When Ning Cheng heard the words of this middle-aged Confucian scholar, he immediately came up with a few meanings. First, this mission was very dangerous. Moreover, letting the disciples participate in it would only be for the cannon fodder to search for clues. Second, because the cannon fodder would obtain too little beneficial news, this mission would soon not be carried out in this way. Third, the other party wanted to persuade him to give up on this mission. For a Crucible Transformation cultivator to care about the life and death of an inner sect disciple, it could be seen that this Crucible Transformation elder was quite a good person. Ning Cheng once again cupped his fists and spoke. Many thanks to the seniors, my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's true inheriting disciples and core disciples are participating in this mission. I am just an inner sect disciple. Participating in the Academy's mission, contributing to the Academy, while at the same time improving one's own cultivation, it is all part of one's duty. A beautiful woman giggled and spoke. Elder Bei, this kid from your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect really knows how to talk. When Ning Cheng heard these words, he came to understand that the 5 Crucible Transformation cultivators here were not all from the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. There were also people from other academies. The middle-aged Confucian scholar gave a chuckle and spoke. Junior apprentice sister, he is overpraising me. This disciple from your star-gathering mansion and that little girl from the Severing Emotions Dao sect are much stronger than Ning Cheng. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's elder then directly turned to Ning Cheng and spoke. Ning Cheng, this time you and the Star-Gathering Mansion's Xing Hai, as well as the Severing Emotions Dao Sect's Bumei will go together to investigate the situation. Remember, as long as you are able to find some clues and come back, it would be equivalent to performing a meritorious deed. Here is a jade talisman. Once you find that something is wrong, immediately crush the jade talisman, and you will immediately be teleported away. Yes, this junior understands. Ning Cheng quickly responded, as he stepped forward and received the jade talisman. Chapter 274. The middle-aged Confucian scholar from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, on seeing Ning Cheng take the jade talisman, turned towards the two young men and women standing in the middle of the room and spoke with a smile. This time our Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Ning Cheng has the lowest cultivation. The two of you are both at the soul essence first level. You must take care of junior apprentice brother Ning Cheng. The young male cultivator, on hearing the middle-aged Confucian scholar's words, quickly bowed and spoke. Senior Bei, please rest assured. Xin Hai will definitely take care of junior apprentice brother Ning. The middle-aged beautiful woman stared at the young male cultivator standing in front of her and spoke, saying that you are fat yet you are still panting. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect has a deep heritage. Do not look at you as a soul essence cultivator. Even if you go in, you might not necessarily be able to compare to this Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng then came to know that the two young man and woman standing in the middle were Xin Hai and Bu Mei, who had come with him this time. Xin Hai very politely responded to the words of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's middle-aged scholar, while that severing emotions Dao sect's Bu Mei acted as if she did not hear it, as she still stood there motionless. Junior apprentice brother Ning, your cultivation is still too low, so you can temporarily follow behind me. Once something goes wrong, you can immediately crush the jade talisman in your hand. After Xin Hai came out, he really took care of Ning Cheng. Many thanks, senior apprentice brother Xin. Ning Cheng thanked him and then asked, are you sure that Crucible Transformation Senior would not have any problems entering this place? Xin Hai spoke in a dignified manner. This is where the problem lies. Not only did the Crucible Transformation Seniors come in without any problems, but even if we followed the Crucible Transformation Seniors, we would still be fine. There is also a strange place, the place where the immortal cave appeared. Even the spiritual consciousness of a Crucible Transformation cultivator would not be able to reach it. Isn't this an array formation? Ning Cheng asked. Xin Hai nodded and spoke, I heard from those Crucible Transformation Seniors that this place is an array formation. It's just that even a Tier 9 array formation Grand Master can't see what kind of array formation this is, let alone us. Speaking till here, Xin Hai suddenly changed the topic. You are just a profound core cultivator and you dare to come here, it really is amazing. However, you still have to listen to me. Although the sect's rewards are good, you still have to act within your capabilities. Ning Cheng already had some understanding of Xin Hai's temperament. He knew that Xin Hai's words were not meant to ridicule him, but rather out of goodwill. I will try to be careful. Moreover, senior apprentice brother Xin will also take care of me. I know what to do. Ning Cheng casually said. Sure enough, Xin Hai grinned, as he stretched out his chubby palm and patted Ning Cheng's shoulder and spoke, Junior apprentice brother Ning can rest assured, even if something happens, as long as we crush the jade talisman in time, we will be able to teleport out. Although I will take care of you, you have to be careful at all times. Severing emotions Dao Sect's junior apprentice sister Bu's cultivation is also very powerful, as such she will definitely take care of you 1 or 2 times. From the moment Ning Cheng saw the other party, the young female cultivator, who had not spoken until now, frowned but still did not speak. Junior apprentice brother Ning, you have to pay attention, behind this yellow line is the dangerous area. The disciples who came in to look for the immortal cave, all of them went missing in the back. Xin Hai pointed to a thick yellow line at his feet, as he reminded Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stepped over the yellow line, and looked at the still desolate area. Because of the war, the place was full of potholes, and spoke with some doubts, there is nothing here. There are no forests or ravines, nor are there any dangerous peaks or rivers. How could it disappear here? Ning Cheng's words suddenly stopped. He found that Xin Hai and Bu Mei who were beside him had suddenly disappeared. There was no sign at all, there was no fluctuation at all. Ning Cheng's scalp tingled, as he felt his whole body become light. The next moment he suddenly appeared in a dark hall. Not to mention about crushing the jade talisman, he did not even have the opportunity to react. At this time, Ning Cheng once again crushed the jade talisman, but it did not have the slightest effect. There was not a single person around the hall. In addition to the cold and gloomy feeling, it was just a cold and gloomy feeling. Ning Cheng's attention immediately concentrated. He felt that this place was no longer under his control. This was definitely a transfer array, but the grade of this transfer array was too high. Even a Tier 9 array formation Grand Master would not be able to see through it. It seems that Xian Hai and Bu Mei were not sent to the same place as him. Although Ning Cheng's attention and his spiritual consciousness were constantly observing the situation around him, but even after staying in the hall for a long time, he did not see any danger. The only thing that was different was that there was a very strange aura surrounding this hall. If Ning Cheng had not come into contact with the power of hope, then he certainly would not be able to know what kind of power this was. Ning Cheng had come into contact with the power of hope, so he could feel that it was similar to the power of hope, but it was definitely not the power of hope. At the same time, Ning Cheng also found that this hall did not have an exit, as such he carefully entered the depths of the hall. When he reached the deepest part of the hall, he saw a faint ray of light shooting out. This ray of light was extremely comfortable to touch with his spiritual consciousness. Obviously, this was the spiritual Qi ray. Ning Cheng's heart moved, as he immediately sped up his pace. At the same time, in a fairy tale-like snow-white ice house, there were more than 100 cultivators frozen inside. These cultivators ranged from the profound congealing realm to the soul essence realm. This snow-white ice house had a strange name. It was called the Karma House. All the cultivators inside the Karma House had a common characteristic, that is, all of them were frozen inside a crystal-clear icicle. Moreover, all the cultivators inside the Karma House had brought out their own magical weapons to protect their entire body, but at the same time they were not able to move, as they were resisting the terrible cold of the icicles. Suddenly, one of the cultivators inside the icicles trembled slightly, as the luster of his defensive magical weapon dimmed. Then a "catcha" sound emerged, as a faint shadow floated out of the cultivator's body, and fell into the huge cauldron at the top of the ice house. The next moment, the cultivator frozen inside the icicles began to melt at a speed visible to the naked eye, before slowly disappearing from sight. The rest of the cultivators inside the icicles were silent on seeing this scene. In addition to desperately using their magical weapons to block the cold of the icicles, they did not have any other way. This kind of scene happened constantly in this ice house every day. There were several disciples from the major academies, as well as many rogue cultivators who came here for a mission. After landing here, they would all be sent to this ice house, and at the same time be frozen. Then no matter how much you tried to resist the cold, as long as you could not resist it, your soul would float out of your body, and enter the huge cauldron at the top of the ice house. Once the soul disappeared, the corporeal body would decompose at a speed visible to the naked eye. After the corporeal body decomposed, all the magical weapons and other things would disappear. Moreover, being frozen in this ice house had nothing to do with one's cultivation. The higher your cultivation, the more powerful the icicles that froze you would be. Being frozen in this ice house, only a cultivator with a good defensive magical weapon, coupled with a powerful spiritual consciousness and true essence, would be able to resist for a longer time. However, it would only be able to resist for a longer time. In the end, they would still turn into ice slag and disappear without a trace. Only in this place could one see the difference between rogue cultivators and the disciples of the academies. Those who could use magical weapons to protect themselves from being frozen for a few months, most of them were the disciples of the academies. There were only a few rogue cultivators. However, as time went by, the icicles in this ice house were also getting fewer and fewer. At most there were more than 1,000 icicles, but now there were only a little more than 100. Another 3 Taoist shadows landed in 3 different corners. Everyone in the ice house knew that this ice house was about to add 3 more icicles. Although the people who came in could not see the ice house, but the people inside the ice house could clearly see the people who came in. They themselves had also come in the same way, and as long as they casually took any of the treasures, they would immediately be transmitted to the ice house, and then frozen by the icicles. This hall was just like the name of the ice house. It was very strange. If you did not take anything from here, then you would never be transmitted to the ice house. In fact, after entering this hall, there was not a single cultivator who could resist not taking anything. Moreover, after entering this hall, it seemed that they would only remember that this was an ancient immortal cave, and only knew that they had come here to look for some good things. As for how they came here, it would become vague in their consciousness, or perhaps it was not important, or even simply not willing to think about it. How come Ning Cheng is also here? Liang Kersen, who was frozen in the icicles, immediately recognized Ning Cheng, and immediately gave out a sigh. Ning Cheng was indeed powerful, but he would soon end up the same as her, frozen in this ice house, and then slowly waiting for death. For a profound congealing cultivator to persist in this ice house for 3 or 4 months without dying, there were definitely no more than 5, and she, Liang Kersen, was one of them. Only she knew that she was once a soul essence cultivator. Her trump cards were far more than that of an average profound congealing cultivator, but even so, she knew that she was only 1 or 2 days away from falling. Low-grade true artifact. When Xin Hai was transmitted down, he was somewhat surprised, but when he saw a low-grade true artifact, he did not hesitate to reach out and grab it. At this moment, he had completely forgotten how he came in. The frozen cultivators in the ice house shook their heads. This guy's resistance was simply too poor, just a low-grade true artifact was enough to make him unable to bear it. But thinking of themselves, this kind of shaking of their heads immediately turned into a deep sigh. Initially, because they saw a treasure that they liked, and then reached out to grab it, didn't they end up being transmitted to this karma house? The moment Xin Hai grabbed the low-grade true artifact, a kind of force that he simply could not resist swept over him. He immediately knew that it was not good. It was only at this moment that he remembered what was going on. But not waiting for him to react, the next moment he also appeared in the ice house, and was frozen in place by an icicle. Looking at the more than 100 icicles in the ice house, and each icicle had a cultivator trapped inside, Xin Hai at this moment completely came to understand. No wonder so many cultivators had disappeared. It turned out that these cultivators were the same as him, because they wanted to take the treasures here, they ended up being frozen in this ice house. His thoughts had just turned to this point, when a ray of light flashed inside the ice house, and another icicle appeared out of thin air inside the ice house. Looking at Bumei inside the icicle, Xin Hai shook his head. He knew that this junior apprentice brother Ning would soon come over. A burst of cold air assaulted him, as if it wanted to tear apart his corporeal body, and then suck away his soul. Xin Hai hurriedly brought out his own defensive magical weapon to protect his entire body, only then did he feel a little better. Immediately he saw Ning Cheng, as Ning Cheng also walked into the luxurious hall that he had entered before. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.